Blog Talk Radio.
Here we go with the main event of the evening, ladies and gentlemen in attendance, boxing fans joining us around the world. It's time for the bout you've all been waiting for. Finally, it is showtime.
Here, man, we dedicate our life to this sport. We do thousands of sit-ups in camp. We run hundreds of miles, for the ones that take it serious. And we just dedicate ourselves fully to our craft, man. We watch tape. We have attitude, we rooting, and we go into that fight just to land on the line.
Boxing fans, this is the Rope-A-Dope Radio Podcast. I am your host, Chris Carlson. We are live on a Tuesday night with a whole lot to talk about from last weekend. There is a fair amount to talk about out of the ring, whether it's about Canelo, whether it's about Wilder and Fury, the Trilogy, whether it's about the pay-per-view numbers. We're going to barely touch on this Glovegate thing, but we'll have to talk about it. It's just another layer to the excuses, but we'll get into it a little bit. AJ now has a fight. Dillian Whyte does as well. Like I said, it seems like Canelo does, and it's kind of a combination of the date anyway when DAZN is going to go literally global. We figured they were going to go global. We just didn't know when, or are they going to keep adding one or two or whatever. Sorry, I just got this weird text. Okay. We'll give you a little information on that as well as far as the zone in a bunch of countries. That's for sure. It'll definitely help boxers here worldwide with their views. We'll see how they do here in the States over the next year or so. And also Floyd Mayweather, always looking for some spotlight. It's really funny. He's talking about, I could train, that's the key word, I could train Deontay Wilder. I could train him so he'd win. But he waited till he lost. He was ringside at the first fight. If he really wanted to improve and help out and all that, yeah, he probably should have done it already. But now that he's safe from a loss, someone coming near his record, now he's willing to. Is it just him saying it? Is it him bringing the I in there? I could do this. Trust me, I could do this. Or does he really mean it? Could he? I mean, there's a little to unpack there. Dedication, as a fighter, you can never sit there and even discuss negatively the dedication that Mayweather had to his own fight and career, clearly. But as a promoter, it's hit or miss. Sometimes he's really good at it. Other times it's like, where's Floyd? Or not other times, a lot of times. And then, as far as, I don't know. I mean, so he's going to show up every day in camp? Or is he just going to once a week come by or at the last second go in the locker room and be like, hey, this is what you got to work on. You know what I mean? So it's kind of all over the place. We'll talk a little bit about that. And we'll look towards the heavyweight triple header on Fox. All-action Polish fighter Adam Kownacki returns to the ring after just a grueling fight with Cristobal Arreola last summer. I'm glad he got some time off. He's going in there. It's actually Poland versus, well, not just Scandinavian, but Finland. So Finnish, because Helenius is from Finland. He's got a long jab. He's got a full camp, too. We'll see. He's come up short in some of these big fights. We'll see if that fight can be competitive. Like I said, he's got a really good jab and a full camp. Who knows? A lot of people are, kind of dumping on the fight. We'll see if it actually turns out to be action-packed. But as far as the heavyweights on the undercard, we got some prospects in F.A. Ajagba and Frank Sanchez, and they're matched with guys that'll probably give them rings, matched with guys. Did I say rings? I meant rounds. I don't know what I just said there. But they're matched with some guys that are like a good test for where they're at this stage of their career. So anyway, oh man, I keep getting the same text. Okay, anyway, sorry. Anyway, like I said, my text is basically the chat, but it's hard for me to do both at the same time. But man, it was a fun weekend over the last weekend. I mean, we're going to talk all about the triple header. This was the best card of the year so far on DAZN, but in general, Mikey Garcia beat Vargas, but had, a tough time doing it, no doubt about it. We figured it wouldn't be a walk in the park, and we just wanted to see Mikey at this weight again to be like, well, it's not like we wanted to see him there, but it was kind of like the biggest thing to me was the weight when it came to predicting this fight. I thought it would be about 9-3, 8-4. It was closer than that. It was definitely closer than that. So we'll get into that. Chocolatito. Roman Gonzalez returns, man, against Cal Yafai. Knocked him out. It's funny because that was the 50-50 fight on paper, and you just wondered, and what made it even closer was, where was Gonzalez in his fighter spirit, right? Is he shot worn? Is the time off going to help him? He did get some tune-up type fights in, and the time off helped him, at least at this level. So Roman Gonzalez, the former pound-for-pound guy, is back, and it was good to see him back, no doubt about it. Like I said, that was the closest fight going in, and I'm not saying it was a blowout, but that was a lot less competitive. Let's put it that way. And also the fight of the night, which I thought, as far as just action, this turned out to be even better than I thought. I knew stylistically it'd be good, but Jay Harris and Julio Cesar Martinez put on the best fight from the last weekend. It looked like Harris was in trouble in the early goings, not the first round, but he got hit with some shots where you're like, okay, dude, this isn't going to go much past 5 or 6 rounds. And that was not the case. Harris fought back. It's not like he won a bunch of rounds. It wasn't 6-6 or anything like that, but man, did he make that thing pretty damn close. That's for sure. So we're definitely going to talk about that. I don't think that's their best card. I still reserve that for the top 2 fights late April last year with Rungvisai and Estrada, and then Roman and Maloney. To me, that probably beats it because you also had, Vargas Soto on that? I just think those top 2 fights were those were in the fight of the year conversations, whereas you could put Martinez and Harris as far as just straight up action fight of the year. You probably could. Like I said, it wasn't all that close on the cards, on my card anyway, but man, it was a good ass fight. Really, really good fight. So we're definitely going to get into some of that recap and, like I said, preview it. Very sizable amount of news today too. So we're going to probably go, recap, probably skim on some news that kind of we'll kind of just play it by ear. But if this is your first time listening to the Rope-A-Dope Radio podcast, you can find it right here on blogtalkradio.com/Rope-A-Dope Radio. It streams live at archives here, but you don't have to just listen to it on Blog Talk or download it out there. You can check out Apple Podcasts for the Rope-A-Dope Radio podcast. You can go to iTunes. I just said Apple Podcast. That's what it used to be called. iHeartRadio, Player FM, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spreaker, really across the board. We're also part of the GruelingTruth.com. It's a Grueling Truth Sports Podcast Network is what I meant to say. Sorry, I'm getting a little flustered here. Shoot. All right, I got to turn that off. I just had a little sound issue, but I think we're okay. It was just kind of weird. Anyway, that's what it is. I didn't have that figured out. Huh. It must have just came loose. But anyway, what was I saying? Head on over to the GruelingTruth.com. It's boxing, it's football, it's basketball, it's baseball, it's everything in between. They got a great sponsor over there, betnow.eu, with the promo code TGT, as in the Grueling Truth. And real quick, if you're thinking about cutting the cord or you have and you're not quite happy, You can try AT&T TV now. It's live streaming cable. I use it myself. They have a 7-day free trial. There's no annual contract you got to sign up for. The plans start as low as $60 a month. You can stream it anywhere. They do have the cloud DVR. And it does seem like Showtime's showing more fights than just Clarissa Shields and Showbox. We'll keep you posted. But right now, it's $11 on Showtime. So it's a pretty good deal. AT&T TV now. It's live streaming cable. But if your internet is just poor or just average, or you're in a region of the country or outside in the outskirts, outside the big city, sometimes the internet is not as good either. You can try AT&T TV. So that's just a normal cable system. You could actually just Google it, put in your area code, find out, if they have it in your area. It is kind of limited right now. It's in Minneapolis, Minnesota here. It's in parts of New York, Florida, California, up to the Northwest in Seattle, other places in the Midwest like St. Louis and Topeka, Wichita, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, that's AT&T TV. But if you think you got decent enough internet, it doesn't have to be great. Just so you know, AT&T TV now. Okay, so like I said, we do have a fair amount to talk about, so we're gonna jump into this stuff. We had ourselves a damn good card. Like I said, the best triple header. I call it a triple header, like the main portion of the DAZN card. DAZN shows most of the card. They don't show all of it, but most of it. So if I say triple header, it's just kind of used to saying that. I suppose the prelims for ESPN and FS1 and Fox, a lot of times they have those too. So I guess I should start calling it something different. I'm just used to the triple header, but this was the best main portion of a card, I'd have to say. And Jessie Vargas, let's start there. Jessie Vargas and Mikey Garcia, a good fight, no doubt about it. The biggest thing, like I said, going into this was, what are we going to get with him him is Mikey Garcia, at this weight class? He didn't look good against Spence, but it is Spence. So you don't want to, go too crazy there. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of a mixed bag of what we got out of Garcia. Just looking at him body-wise, pause. And I actually took a pause there, too, with some Gatorade. But, his body didn't look that great. I'll just admit it. I don't think he's ever going to look great at 147. He's just not big enough. I'm not saying it looked horrible, but did it look better than the Spence fight? I mean, maybe, but not anything, not really. His body, it just looks like it's holding too much weight. In power-wise, he did show more power. This is against Jessie Vargas, though, not against a half-of-the-fight slick boxer, in a sense, right? That's what Spence did. He was on, he's fighting at range more than we're used to. So, how far can you look into it? You don't want to look too far in because it was Jessie Vargas, but we'll get into the Pacquiao fight, which, according to Eddie Hearn, it's actually going to be done here kind of soon. I know he has a date, January 11th. He spoke about that last week a bunch for the Joshua and Fury potential, right? I remember he brought that up a bunch. But I don't know, We'll talk about that in a second. But Vargas, like I mentioned, I think I said this, I thought it would be 9-3-ish, 8-4-ish, somewhere in there. I thought it would take a little while because Mikey takes a little while most of the time, especially when he's going against a quality opponent and the guy size-wise. He was, he's a big dude. He is a big dude. He hasn't even just been fighting at 47. He's shown he's got some pop and power at this weight class, too. I just asked Jessie Vargas, or Bradley, but Jessie Vargas, he did have his fights with Delorme where I think it was a draw, right? It was a close fight. And same with Soto. It was almost like, I think the style in which he fought that fight, it didn't look. I don't know. It kind of looked like he was trying to beast him out or whatever. Or I don't know. He just didn't look up to his game, I guess you could say. And maybe some of this weight rise is not as good for him. But regardless, I gave Vargas 3 out of the first 4 rounds. He landed a couple of nice left hooks and then a late left hook that lands really clean on Mikey. Second round as well, it was closer. Mikey, I noticed, was having problems early on with landing the jab. And that's obviously usually what he wants to establish, like most fighters. And, Vargas had just landed better. Now, I thought Mikey started landing his left hand to the body better. Just a jab and left hook, added a right hand in the third round. Vargas did have like a roundhouse right, though, at the end of the round where I'm thinking, wow, dude. Okay. I gave that round to Garcia, but I didn't feel great about it. Another close round in the fourth. But for me, Vargas he landed the better shots. And I'd say the fight itself, two-way-wise, started really picking up in the last chunk of this round. And it kind of carried over. It was a good stylistic fight after that. But this is when Garcia, I'm not going to say put it in cruise control, but kind of. Through the fifth until probably the 10th, I gave it all to Garcia. He obviously scored on an overhand right. That definitely hurt. Vargas, I think he hit him right in the ear. It was an overhand right, and then another right hand later that, it kind of looked like Vargas was in big trouble. There was a right hand that kind of opened up. I think it was a right hand that opened up Garcia's. A couple right hands, nose. He was bleeding out of his nose. But like I said, the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, Garcia was landing his jab. Then he threw a left hook in there along with his right hands. Uppercuts as well. You could see he had timed him, he had measured him, and now it's time to hurt him. And a handful of times in this fight, he hurt him with right hands. There's no way around it. Vargas would have like a decent start, and then, Garcia would take it over, and you can start to see, he started putting his punches together in 1-2 combinations, just landing the better punches, controlling it. Vargas having minor success, but not much. He did start to kind of slow down. Now, my stream kind of skipped all over the place in the 10th round, so I can't really score that round. I did have some issues. I actually had some issues throughout the night with it, which was kind of weird. But when I went on the Spanish feed or live stream, I didn't have any problems. And I assume there are less people on that stream, but I could be wrong. It could just be, you hit the Spanish thing and it sends you to a new stream. So I don't know if that's just an option in there, but for whatever reason, once I went to the Spanish, I had no problems with it for the rest of the night. It was kind of in and out. It was actually giving me a lot of problems on the undercard. But right when Martinez and Harris started, for whatever reason, it tightened up. And then it gave me more issues, so I just went Spanish the whole night. So that freaking helped me a lot. But like I said, I can't really call the 10th. I know it was close, though, from what I saw. Just from what I saw, I may give one to Vargas, but, I'm not sure. I think he may have won either the 12th or maybe the 10th. But, yeah, the stick and move, stick and pivot at times I thought was pretty nice from Garcia. And overall, he won the fight for me. I had it 8-4, or I could go 7-5 as well. 7-5, 8-4, somewhere in that range. I didn't think it was a draw. I definitely didn't think Vargas got robbed or anything like that. The scorecards read 114, 113, 116, 111, and 116, 111. So, but the punch stats, 152 Garcia, 142 or 47, I think it was, for Vargas. And Vargas threw a bunch of punches, 671 compared to, Mikey at 478, but 32-21 as far as percentage landing. So that kind of did it there. But, I don't know. I look at this fight, and he did have some rust to take off. So I think you gotta obviously put that into the equation a little bit. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's to me, I thought he looked pretty good. I mean, he is not fighting one of the top tier guys. I definitely, I understand he wants to rematch his only loss, but I don't really think he necessarily does. I think he'd much rather have that Pacquiao fight, and that's not ripping him. You know what I mean? I don't really look at that as ripping Mikey for saying that. I mean, we've already seen that fight, and maybe having this fight, well, not maybe, having this fight and then fighting Spence would have been better. But then again, you could see enough at the weight that it's for Mikey where you're like, nah, I still don't think this is his ideal weight at all. I still think 40. I can't say 35 is his ideal weight anymore because he hasn't been there in a while. So, and even when he was at 35, what, he only fight 235 since his retirement when he came, or not retirement, but the break? I think he only fought Easter Jr. and what the hell is his name? The guy he won the belt from. Because otherwise, when he came back, he had a catch weight. So technically that wasn't 35. He fought Lipinets, and then he fought Broner. So I think 140 just suits him better. But why wouldn't you want to fight Manny Pacquiao? And, Manny does do some things that set up fairly well. For Mikey, it won't be. The thing is, like, he does really well with guys that come at him. That dude I can't think of, who he won the belt off. That guy kind of came at him. So did Orlando Salido. Like, Pacquiao's going to come at him, but it's going to be a whole different. It's going to be a lot faster. It's going to be the in and out angles. It's different. It's still different than fighting. Obviously Errol Spence. It is different, especially the way Spence fought in the first half of that. Spence definitely picked it up and started attacking the body. Looked like he was trying to go for the stoppage. Wasn't able to do it, so that bode well. We know he's got a damn good chin, that's for sure. Jesse's got some pop. He hurt Bradley, I remember, a couple years back, really bad. And he's got some power, got some pop at the weight class. But, I like the fight. I still like the fight. I've always, if you're looking at 147, fights like Danny Garcia and Pacquiao, just because of the size and certain things that match up well, I think that does match up well for Danny or Mikey. A lot of Garcia, sorry, for Mikey as well. But I don't know. Like, I think he can beat him because he's got a great jab, got a great right hand, got great timing. But I'm trying to think speed-wise. Spence is fast. Broner's got good hand speed. Easter's got good hand speed. But the combination of speed and power and then the quick feet. And by the way, as we know, Manny Pacquiao can take a punch. I'm sure somebody will DM me and be like, oh, yeah, you think he couldn't take a punch against Marquez? But we know the dude. I mean, look at his last. And, he'll be off for a year, though. So, maybe that year's great for him because he wasn't a brutal fight. Even though he won it cleanly, I thought he got a lot of punches landed on him. So I don't know, man. I'm interested in it. You know what I mean? No doubt about it. Saudi Arabia's, what is it? July 11th is that date that Eddie had been, throwing around. Even Pacquiao said lately that it's Spence or Garcia or Crawford. He always throws Crawford in there now. And I can't really tell if that fight's going to happen. Here's the thing. Eddie Hearn told Mannix and Coppinger that he has no deal with PBC. And who knows? Maybe they thought, well, shit, maybe they don't want to guarantee him that money. And they decided to go the different route, putting some money to Wilder or whatever. I don't know. I'm not sure. The last we heard was Coppinger and a couple other folks that said he does have 1 year left, or one fight left, I should say, and it could be that maybe he'll take that and then come back to the PBC and have that one option. Maybe they agreed to part ways. I have no clue. Maybe he's going to buy out his contract because it's going to be such a big payday against Mikey because of the Saudi money. I'm not really sure. I know DAZN wants it because you get Pacquiao and then the Hispanic crowd already, and you have a Canelo card in May to you could shoulder program a little bit there, but just in general to start promotions then for a July fight, that could be huge for them as far as signups and whatnot, of course. So that would be a big fight for them, no doubt about it. I definitely would be interested in the fight. Like I said, I've always been interested in that fight for Mikey at 47. I don't really look at him as a top-tier guy like Crawford or obviously Spence, those two, because they fought Spence. But there are some things I think, that Mikey could do with because of his timing, his calculations in the ring, that jab. He won't be way undersized or reach-wise at a big disadvantage like he would with some of these other guys at welterweight. So we'll see. It could be just Eddie going with the press run again. Potentially. He could be like, I'm trying to make the fight. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe, I don't know. I really don't know because it is a little surprising. We thought maybe it would happen later in the year because there was supposedly one fight left. And also, Gibbons, the guy that kind of is like the right-hand man beyond the management stuff, the day-to-day stuff, Sean Gibbons, he was saying that they got one option and they plan on staying with the PBC. Now, you could stay with the PBC and still go to DAZN for a fight or two. And maybe because of that money that you'd have to give him for a Spence fight or for something like that, maybe they want him to make a huge, huge chunk and go fight Mikey and take their chances and they'll get him back. I really don't know. It could be just Eddie trying to make the fight for Garcia because now he wants to keep Mikey Garcia. He's got options on him, but I think, I don't think it's just a one-fight deal. I think it actually is. I think it's like he's got basically an option to match. So he's really trying to do it. And Mikey at DAZN makes a lot of sense considering the majority of their, subscribers are from California and just in general, Mexican, American, Hispanic, you know what I mean, with the Canelo casuals and just that fan base. So to have a guy like Ryan Garcia, Mikey Garcia, these are all good, good guys to keep around, not just because what they could potentially still grow into, but it's just it matches up with what they got going on anyway. But we'll keep you posted. I can't really say if that fight's going to happen or not. I don't know. But hey, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I could see. It's a lot of money, I'm sure. If you can get $20 million, I'd say minimum $20 million for Pacquiao. So who knows? We'll see. Saudi Arabia is going to want that too. So on to Chocolatito, Roman Gonzalez, Cal Yafai. Like I said, going into this fight, this was the 50-50. You know what I mean? This definitely was the 50-50. But it didn't turn that out that way in the ring. It was a good opening round. No doubt, it was a pretty good opening round. The opening round was close. I did give the second to Gonzalez. I thought he was landing some short punches. He could have buzzed him late too in that second round. I wasn't totally sure about that, but he was throwing in some movement. Whether it's circling, pivoting, he was throwing in a little bit. He was adding a little movement. Was Gonzalez? I thought the busier fighter was Cal in the third. Then I didn't give Cal. Did I give him another round? I'm not sure about that. The fourth round, nope. I thought Gonzalez closed it better. He really started applying more pressure and getting into that body work with hooks to the head and body and a few uppercuts. That pressure was coming on. Came with the sixth round, more body shot. Now, Yafai, he wasn't doing nothing. He was landing body shots and stuff. But I think the problem was he was hanging around too much in the pocket. And, you know, 7th round was fairly close. But I gave it to Gonzalez. I gave him the 8th as well. Yeah, I gave him the 8th. Well, I definitely gave him the 8th, right? Because he landed, what was it, 15? It was like a right hand with 30 seconds left and a knockdown with like, I don't know, 15 seconds or so. And a huge right hand really just dropped him in the 9th, and it was a wrap. You know what I mean? It was definitely a wrap. It was over, and you know, a good try by Cal Yafai. Even if he didn't fight, you know, I saw a lot of people saying, "What are you doing, dude? You're supposed to fight this way." I hear that totally. Well, I mean, Gonzalez at the start in the first handful of rounds, he was on the move though too, so that may have messed him up a little bit. He was having success too. Was Yafai somewhat early, but even if he boxed, and like I said, with that movement before he started really applying that pressure, Gonzalez, it may have thrown him off a little bit there too. He may have thought, hey, this dude's old. I'm going to just bruise him up. You know, I'm going to just wear him down. And we really didn't know. You know, Gonzalez had taken a year off, and then he had some tune-up type fights, nothing too crazy, so the time off definitely helped. Now, am I ready to say, oh, Gonzalez is back and he's going to take over everybody? I sure would like to see the Estrada rematch. I remember on Twitter, a lot of people used to give me shit about wanting to see that rematch because I thought it was a very competitive fight. I'm not saying, you know, Estrada got robbed or something, or he should have won 7-5, or it was for sure a draw. You know, I'm not saying that, but to me, it warranted a rematch at some point, and we may get it. Estrada's been through the ringer too, and he's not at his best weight either anymore. So I'd like to see that. But either way, you know, Cal's going to have to brush it off. He's still young enough to where he could, you know, still have a prosperous career. But Gonzalez turned back the clock, and it was nice to see. You always like to see these old timers getting it in. 170. Oh, I shouldn't say old timers. He's not that old. 174 to 100 though. As far as punches landed, and 674 to 414 as far as punches thrown. That's through 9 rounds, so Gonzalez looked pretty damn good, man. I gotta say, he looked pretty damn good. What do we got here? All right, so we have. Oh yeah, the fight of the night. What do we got? So, yeah, I mean, we'll see, you know, where they move Gonzalez from here. I don't know. We'll find out somewhat soon, I'd say, as far as maybe not locked down, but I think we'll know more in the coming weeks for sure. And then we had Jay Harris, not to be confused with the guy that went to Virginia, Joe Harris, Jay Harris. And I'm just messing. He took on Martinez, and actually, this is like this is the first time he went the distance. Julio Cesar Martinez, and Martinez, he's only got like 15 or 16, 17 fights, something like that. So I was interested in this flyweight fight, and I'll say this: although I didn't give a bunch of rounds, you know. I mean, like I said, it wasn't 6-6 for me. Wasn't 7-5, but this was the fight of the night, just sheer action. And although I gave the first 4 out of 5 rounds to Martinez, the second round I think you could give to Harris potentially. He landed his jab pretty well and some good right hands. You could have also said that Martinez landed a heavy shot that stole the round. You know what I mean? But he started Martinez with that left hook, the quick combinations. He's weird because he's like kind of flat-footed at times and kind of, not to sound like Mayweather, but straight up and down. You know, like he has this weird stance And sometimes, well, he gets hit too much off of it. But there's times where he literally will just stand right in front of you. But then he just spazzes, and he has his way of getting in and out, although he gets punched plenty. But if he can tighten that up against the higher-level guys, this dude's got potential to be a damn good fighter. I'm not saying potential. He's already a damn good fighter, but you know what I mean? Like, he's got that chance to be a top-level fighter. He's explosive. He loves to mix it up. But, yeah, like I said, he's getting hit a little too much, you know. But I thought in the first chunk of rounds, once we got into the fifth round, that body work started piling up. I thought Jay Harris was in trouble, dude. His nose looked like it was broke. He's all beat up. It's just like, okay, dude, this doesn't look good. But the sixth round, he could have won that round. He could have snuck that round out late. I mean, it was a two-way round. But I will say this, Martinez came right back, and I thought won the seventh. Right back. The eighth was close, though. I thought the harder shots, though, in the seventh, and just that pressure with combinations, the seventh and ninth. Eighth round was close, though. That was a close round. I even marked it in my scorecard there. Then there was a body shot that landed really early in the round, 20, 30 seconds in. So it was a 10-8 round, but you know what? Even in that round, and this is what I loved about Harris, who was unbeaten but fairly unexperienced at this level, and he rallied late after getting hurt to the body. So that was impressive, dude. And he kind of just overwhelmed them, I think, just timing them. You know, still game though, still game Harris. So I gave it right around an 8-4 ish, somewhere in there in that range. You know, I'd probably side 9-3 before I'd go 7-5, but maybe not. You know, I'm confident with 8-4. I think that was a decent scorecard. It was kind of all across the board. You had the 118-109, which obviously is a clear win there, 10-2. 116-111, that's what I had, 8-4. Then 115-112, 7-5. So, you know, I think you could probably give him a third round in there, Harris. I don't think it's a 10-2. But like I said, 9-3, 8-4, whatever. But I'll tell you what, like I said, that it was like a 6-1 to 8-1 all the way up some sites. I'm sure they take more of your money. That's why they go 9 or 10-1 for Harris. So being that's just, you know, anytime you get to 6 or 7 or 8-1, it's a sizable underdog, especially in boxing, you know. And so yeah, I didn't think he had a chance to win the fight when I'm watching it, but damn, he freaking fought really hard. So kudos to you, Jay Harris, and also, like I said, first time through. Full 12 rounds for Julio Cesar Martinez, and he's a fun fighter to watch, man. And I'm not sure how far his style can go if he keeps doing it that way. He's going to get hit a lot. Like I said, he just loves to he doesn't necessarily toy with you the whole time or clown you the whole time by any stretch of the imagination, but he has a way of kind of like clowning you where he'll just throw a bunch of combos on you. But he'll stand right in front of you for a second. And it's not like, he can move his head and upper body, but like I said, his stance, and he's just flat. I don't know how this is exactly working, like to how the high level it looks like it's working, but it is working. You know what I mean? It's working. So, good fight though. Like I said, I thought that was the fight of the weekend. Even though scorecards-wise, sure, okay, it wasn't as close as other fights, but as far as just sheer action, dude, that's my fight of the weekend. I'd have to say. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. That's my opinion because it was so action-packed. Is it the fight of the year so far? Probably not. It's right there, though. You know, MJ Roman was right there. I think Rosario and, J-Rock, that's up there too because that's the upset of the year so far. So, Wilder Fury wasn't the fight of the year. It was the event of the year, and it may live up to that for the rest of the year. We'll see what happens if Joshua and Fury or some other fights get made later in the year, Canelo, Golovkin, whatever. But, yeah, man, that was I really enjoyed that fight. That was, like I said, the best fight of the weekend, no doubt about it. But like I said, the best card, I'd say, for triple header right there. That's the best card of the year so far. So kudos for DAZN on that. That was big. That was fun, man. I had a lot of fun watching that card. I was nervous though watching. Like I was kind of in and out of the undercard because I was watching some other, some college basketball at the time, but also it was just knocking me off and freezing and just going black screen. Even though I could see like where I was in the fight, it just wouldn't show it. So when in doubt, if you're not on the Spanish one already, try that out because the rest of the time that I went there, it never failed once. So it was pretty dope, thank God, because that other stream was rough, dude. Like I even went there between fights just to see if it was legit. And a couple minutes into it, it already was messing up. So shouts out to the Spanish feed on DAZN for this last week. And like I said, I haven't had a lot of issues with it at all. So that was a little surprising, but like I said, I managed. That is for sure. So, real quick, on the Showtime, what was it, Plana? I think it was Plana. He beat Newman. It took a little while to get going. It was one of those competitive fights, but it wasn't like a great fight. They both just lunge with the punches. And a lot of times they're like lunging with their punches like left hooks and lunging with right hands and stuff like that. But there was plenty of two-way through it. And both jabbed pretty well. So it had moments of like entertainment. I just thought that, I think it's Plana. I thought he won the fight not totally cleanly. I had it 6-4, but I thought it was a clean 6-4. Jabs, pot shots. He just landed the bigger shots. Kevin Newman fought pretty well, but it was one of those 7-1-1 against 11-1-1 type things. So prospect against prospect, and I gave it to so the judges, obviously, all three, 96-94. Newman landed more punches, but and he did go to the body better. But he won the fight. Newman lost. Richard Richardson Hitchinson. That's I'm always thinking about that because I know someone with the Richardson. He looked decent. He looked okay. I think he had a replacement guy that he went against. He looked okay. He looked all right. That's kind of a work in progress with him. I know he's got a good amateur pedigree. I think it's going to take him a little bit to start showing even more of that. Not to say that he's been struggling by any stretch of the imagination, but, I just think he needs to still blossom in the prospect stuff. You know what I mean? I mean, that happens. I'm not saying, this dude is not going to be anything. I watch prospect stuff, no doubt about it. I love to see them when they're actually tested. But we'll see. You know what I mean? We'll see. Oh, some Mayweather news. What do you know? That kind of goes along with him. Maybe he'll have Wilder in his camp. Ooh. It'll be a doubleheader. McGregor against Floyd. That would be a big pay-per-view. Talk about the guarantees in that one. Ouch. But I suppose it wouldn't matter in the long run. So the main event, though, was good. And I thought this was close to I wouldn't say 50-50, but I thought this one was going to be very close. Keith Hunter and Rachmanov. It was like entertaining, and it had some action in it. But I probably only gave Rachmanov 2 rounds. Yeah, I had it 8-2. The jab and the overhand rights kind of started the first and second and maybe even the third rounds out. I think there's a knockdown by Hunter. I think midway through with a right hand. The last 90 seconds, though, was fun. And that's why I thought Rachmaninoff, although he didn't challenge him in rounds much, but he did bring a fair amount of decent pressure. And when that pressure came, Hunter moved pretty well, threw his jab out there, a lot of jabs. He didn't throw many. He's definitely just like a flick and flare and feint. You know what I mean? He wasn't really landing too many jabs. I mean, for example, he threw 660 jabs, and he didn't land a whole lot of them, but he threw 1,075 overall. So like I said, two-way moments, I think you could give the 6 because of an overhand right and some left hooks that landed really, really hard. And it kind of felt, and that was the 6th round for Rachmaninoff. And I thought, okay, well, we're going to see it. The 7th was two-way round as well. And he once he landed those good shots in the 6th, he definitely, bumped up that pressure. But it was two-way stuff down there. But I just thought there were good work by both. But Keith Hunter separated himself. He moves to 12-0. Like I said, I had it like 8-2, maybe 7-3 potentially. But I had it 8-2. Two of the judges' scorecard had a 98-91. Someone had a 97-92. 181 to 123, but for punches for Hunter, but 1,075 to 393. But it's hard to throw punches when the jab is always right there. Like I said, I mean, I'm pretty sure that other dude landed more jabs. If I'm right, I think he did, dude. Actually, did I write that down? I think he did. That would be pretty crazy. Yeah, 51 to 46. So old boy threw 660 jabs, Hunter did, and only landed 46 of them. So, but it is tough to get your punches off if you got that coming to you all the time, So, I don't know. But a good performance by Hunter. I thought this was a good fight for him that way, as far as getting rounds. Dude was tough. He kept bringing pressure. So all in all, it was a good, entertaining fight that definitely tested a prospect, but it wasn't tight on the scorecard. And that about wraps it up as far as the main stuff. I was kind of in and out, like I said, because I couldn't watch the DAZN stuff, and I haven't had a chance to go back and watch it again, unfortunately. So I don't have a ton to say about some of the undercard stuff. Diego Pacheco, or was it Pacheco? I know he won a 6-rounder, I believe it was. And same with Matarimov. He looked good, I mean, he was supposed to kind of do that. But Navarro, is a veteran and stuff, but he dominated him on the undercard. But, junior middleweight, watch out for Matarimov. I think it's Matarimov. So, yeah, that about wraps it up. So we obviously will talk about the upcoming card, PBC on Fox. We also have a DAZN card from the UK, Scott Quigg and John Carroll. And on paper, or Jonah Carroll, on paper, that's the that's the tightest match fight. I drank, a couple of weeks ago I did this too. I drank too much caffeine, and I'm having problems. I just realized that. But I was just dragging today. Anyway, let's see what we got here. So we are going to talk a little bit about that heavyweight card. I think it's just going to be action-packed. You got two prospects, and Frank Sanchez, the Cuban fighter, and going against Dawejko, I think it's Dawejko. Joey D is what they call him, right? That's a good test for Frank Sanchez. And stylistically, those two, don't get me wrong, it may be free swinging too much where they, you throw a right hand and you fall on the ground or whatever, or you fall into the ropes or something, who knows? But to me, that's a great opener. That is going to be an action-packed. There's going to be an XFL lead-in. Not that that's some huge lead-in, but it's something. And if you look at it, you can see what the PBC is doing here with this XFL. Now, XFL is going to bring in more white sports fans football, right? Than boxing, right? That's the missing link in boxing, right? Really, in the States is your average everyday white American, not a Polish American or whatever. But I'm saying just run-of-the-mill white dude who's a boxing or sports fan. But listen to this. Last time they went with the XFL, and they had two white dudes, Caleb Plant and dude from Germany, right? And they had him on the main card. When's the last time you had two back-to-back main cards with like white dudes, and two of them are like base tier white dudes? That hasn't happened in a while, but they know what they're doing with that XFL, I think. But because you got, once again, two white dudes, Sure, like, one of them's, well, both of them, I guess, technically aren't from here, but, I mean, he's basically from here. He's Polish-American, really, in my mind, because he's grown up here. So Kownacki and Helenius, that's one of those fights where Helenius does have a full camp. He is a guy that is solid. He's got a really solid jab. He's got reach. Kownacki can be hit all day, and he's coming off a fight where he got – they had a punch stat record, right, or right up in there in the record. I think they both threw over 1,000 punches. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was close to 300 punches that Kownacki got landed on him. And it's not like Areola is a soft puncher. You know what I mean? But I'm saying that, he was washed, but he wasn't in shape. So you kind of knew, okay, a lot of people dumped on that fight, but, I kind of saw Areola before and had seen interviews with him still, like, be in shape with Goosen. So I felt pretty confident it was going to be a great brawl, but I just didn't think it'd be that good. You know what I mean? I didn't think Areola would be able to do that. But, yeah, obviously this is an eliminator probably for – I mean, is it IBF or is it WBA? I could see it being like a I can't remember which one it was. I could see it being like maybe it's. You think it's for that Martz and or not Martz, but Char and Bryant. Didn't they just have a purse bid for that? Is that it, or is it the IBF? I don't know. My point is they're putting him in position, Kownacki. He's coming off a really hard fight, if you think about it. Even that Charles Martin fight from the year before that, a lot of people Charles Martin, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't know, dude. Like, I don't think a ton of Charles Martin, but he's not just some bummy dude. And that was like a 6-4 fight, dude. That was like a really good fight. So I think they're just moving him. I know, the Brazil thing. I think a couple, maybe a week before or something like that, that started getting announced. The Brazil fight was out there. I think it was offered. Brazil, I think, put on his IG that, he got ducked. I don't know if that's true. Maybe, I don't know. Did he? I don't remember him saying, I signed the contract, you got to sign yours. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not actually on Instagram. I just pop on and off on there when I need to. But I also heard it was money. That Brazil just wanted a little bit more money. I don't know which one denied the fight. I heard that he didn't think he had enough money in there. And Brazil was coming off that knockout. So maybe, I remember talking about this a couple of months ago, maybe having Brazil just get a camp in and get a fight in against a decent opponent and then match him for something big. I don't know. But either way, we're hearing, a big fight. Obviously, we know they're moving Kownacki. So, being that he got hit a bunch in his last fight in a complete war, I didn't think they'd put him in with some kind of huge step up, So, I'm okay with this opponent, but I understand because that people are down on this fight because Helenius, although he was jabbing really well and landed good shots on Washington, he did get stopped in that fight. I think he was up on the scorecards. I think 2 out of 3, minorly up. I had him up. I remember watching that because I was at the Minneapolis Armory. But he got knocked out. Now he did get a camp and got a fight in, a tune-up. So that's good. And like I said, he also had about a month-ish when it got announced. So was he already in camp for 3 weeks or 4 weeks, like knowing he had the fight, or was he just kind of wondering which fight he was going to get and then went full force? I don't know. What I do know is he had a full camp here. So I still think it's pretty good. I like the heavyweight theme. If they can get that to be an action fight, I think we got a card. We'll talk a little bit about that too, along with Quigg, Scott Quigg, and Jonah Carroll, which I said earlier. I think that is the closest match fight. You know what I mean? That's what it looks like. So yeah, we're gonna get into a little bit of news. Little talk here. What do we got here? So obviously. All right, so Canelo is without an opponent, and I assume they would have already done that before Wilder fight week, or maybe early, in the week. So it wouldn't be like they got overshadowed as much. Anyway, so Eddie actually talked to Eddie Reynoso, and he said Saunders, or how does he say it? Oscar's always says Saunders a funny way, just like my Midwestern accent can come out and say some funny stuff. Saunders, I think. I don't know. But anyway, Billy Joe Saunders, Sanders, that's what he says. Stylistically, I think it could be interesting, for sure, because Billy Joe can fight on the outside. He can move really well. When he's on his game, if he's on the outside the whole time, it'll be a step up in cutting out the ring. Danny Jacobs not going to be a big mover. Golovkin move, but we can't sit there and call him an Arislandi Lara or a Floyd. My point is, Amir Khan, sure, but he fought that. He didn't cut the ring off on him. He's just looking for one big shot against him. But Khan was, moving pretty well in that fight, winning rounds. So my point is, when Billy Joe's on, now 168 Billy Joe, I'm not sure. It does seem like he stayed in pretty good shape now, and he knows it's potentially coming, so he's going to be ready to go right into camp. But I don't know, man. You know what I mean? I'm not totally sure about that, because what's his last high-level fight was Lemieux, and that was a while ago. The Billy Joe Saunders, and it's kind of funny because Dillian Whyte and Povetikin is now official for the UK. DAZN, and that day would be sweet for DAZN. UK style with the Dillian Whyte and Povetikin, which is a good fight, and then Canelo and BJ Saunders. My thing is, can we get to the finish line to May 2nd without anybody failing a drug test in that bunch there, those four? That'll be interesting. But yeah, I like the Billy Joe Saunders fight just because, hey, man, he's a top-tier fighter at 168. He's definitely not proven like he is at 160, Andy Lee and Chris Eubank Jr. and what he did to David Lemieux that was his best performance. But when it's been so long, I don't know if he's firing on all cylinders right now. It does seem like he's stayed in shape, but man, he's so in and out of fights, and you're like, dude, what was that? You look horrible. I just don't know how many times you can look horrible and then just one day, boom, pop up, and you're great. I don't know. And it's not like he's going to knock out Canelo, so even if he does outbox him, he's going to have to win like 9 or 10 rounds outbox him. That's not easy. But I do like the fight. I'm not complaining about it. I'm just, stating the obvious. Just because of Billy Joe's outside acumen. I think he is a pretty good outside fighter. So yeah, that news is I guess it's going to come. That's what we hear now. Could be Callium Smith, and I think style-wise, I think that's a funner fight to watch, I guess. But I also think I think that would definitely be more of an inside fight. But we'll see, man. We'll see which one it is. We got to know by the end of the week. I mean, we could know by tonight potentially. You know what I mean? I don't know, but it sounds like Billy Joe. And we heard about $7.75 million from a Coppinger and a couple other sources, but Eddie said, you're wrong on this one. I don't really know what that amount got there. I'm pretty sure that Golden Boy won't want that money out there, you know, and I wouldn't doubt if they maybe at some point DAZN, Eddie, and Oscar have a talk on, like, let's not talk numbers anymore because, you know, that's the whole Matchroom Golden Boy thing and the Sky Sports balance thing, that it's kind of like, even like, for example, the Charlo fight, if you're offering him $6 or $7 million, because he said ballpark 7, which it wasn't 7, but he said ballpark, so let's say 6, 7, whatever. But then you're getting less offered to you or the same for Canelo, that messes up the negotiations. You see what I'm saying? So if you're potentially getting $6 or $7 million to fight Andre, you're going to want more. And we know all about that. Like, I'm not going on this road again. You guys know where I stand if you've listened to this the last month or so, back and forth with all this stuff with Andre and Charlo. I'm not trying to bring that up to talk about it like that, but it does cause issues. If you got Eddie throwing out all this cash, it is kind of messing up because a lot of those are the same opponents, you know. Obviously, Andre is the guy left out. No surprise there, though, obviously. But I want to see him matched up. That's my biggest thing because, you know, this last chunk of time, it does feel like we got Canelo Jacobs. Luckily, the IBF thing, we did get Derevyanchenko, Golovkin, and luckily it turned out to be a better fight than people thought. But other than that, it kind of felt like what I said about circa 2014, 2013, or 15, when the PBC welterweights were up and coming, and all of them seemed like they were trying to get or waiting just to make sure we get the Floyd fight. Oh, I could get the Floyd fight. I'm not going to fight Thurman yet. I'm going to, you know what I mean? That's what it seemed like. And that's what it seems like what is going on there between 160 and 168. Golovkin wants Canelo. There has been some chirping about that's going to happen in September. I don't know. Golovkin's had this weird schedule where a fight comes up, we're going to schedule it, no, we're not. We're going to schedule it, no, we're not. He signed up with Snack, and then I believe he's no longer with them because he wasn't doing the things they asked him to do in the program. I don't know the details on that, but as far as what he wasn't doing, I mean, I don't know. I'm a little confused when it comes to that. But like I said, I'm just happy to see a matchup in there. And so it sounds like we're going to get either Callie Smith or Billy Joe. And I'm good with either one. I'm good with either one. I just want to see the top guys. If you can't make the Charlo fight on DAZN, okay, cool. But let's see these guys matched up. And so I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. Couple other news before we get to the Wilder Fury trilogy and the pay-per-view numbers. And we're not going to spend much time on the glove gate, but we'll have to cover it. Let's see. Oh, DAZN. We're on the DAZN tip. We might as well go there. They're going. We knew they were going to go global. That was obvious. I mean, if you look at what they did in Japan as far as rights that they've bought in the expansion they've had there, they had 1 million, subs a long time ago in Japan. And then even Italy, I believe they had the Italian Soccer League. They pretty damn well in other countries. Here, it's a work in progress, but we all knew that, no doubt about it. They're great for the hardcore fight fan, that's for sure. We're going to find out, this year's a big year for them. If they could get Pacquiao Garcia, if they could get Canelo Golovkin, obviously if they could somehow get Joshua and Fury at the end of the year, I mean, talk about signups. That's going to be interesting. You even kind of heard, you kind of heard Eddie Hearn saying, maybe that will have to be a pay-per-view. Wouldn't that be a crazy thing if DAZN was charging you a pay-per-view for that fight? But maybe not. How game is ESPN going to be since they put up this money to just say, well, can we make some of that money then? Like, how much are we getting out of that comparatively to Bob making money? I don't know. We'll see how that goes, obviously. But 200 countries I think they were up to, 9 of them already? Brazil, and they had just got into. But the big story here is we knew they were going to go global. It was just a matter of time. And instead of going 1 or 2 or 3, they just said, screw it, we're going global. And I think that's smart. Why not just go? There's no point in taking that much time, and you might as well get it up and running. I think it's by May, right? You might as well start collecting those subscription rates, right now. It's going to be anywhere from $5 to $10 too, I heard. Or $10, $9.99. Although it's 20 here, besides the hardcore fight fan or the Canelo, Canelo fan too. I'm sure a lot of those guys and gals, bought the $100 so you can get, the 8, whatever it is, $8.33 or some shit like that a month. But the big thing is how it's going to go to the UK. And they already have that's the thing, Canelo and Billy Joe. We think anyway. We feel like that's where they're going to start with in the UK, that fight. That's crazy because they could be competing. Well, it's going to be Sky Sports pay-per-view. So that's going to be funky. And Sky Sports pay-per-view, I mean, we got some pay-per-views here in this. We're not up into the 8 or 10 or even, I think we hit 11 or 12 like sometime in the 2000s, earlier 2000s, I thought, or like maybe mid to, I can't remember what year was that. Was that 2000? I can't remember, but they got a bunch of pay-per-views coming up. Sucks for them, but at least they're not as much though. So that helps. But the big thing like I said, is the UK thing. I mean, the Sky Sports deal is up in 2021, and I think Anthony Joshua's deal's up into 2021 too. So Eddie, I remember maybe a month ago or something, I remember him saying they're in negotiations right now. So will they close that out? DAZN, it would be really big for DAZN, obviously, to get Joshua and Whyte and all those the pay-per-view market there. That would be like, getting everything here. So we'll see. I don't know, man. I don't know how that's going to work out. But, hey, expanding to 200 countries, fighters fighting here are going to get more viewership, worldwide. That's for damn sure. Like I said, this is a big year for them in the U.S. as well. AJ Pulev, we know that's happening. Stadium fight in June. Floyd Mayweather said I could train Wilder. I could help him out. He could beat Fury. It's kind of sketchy because it's like, okay, dude, but weren't you there at the first fight? Didn't you see him get outboxed for a lot of that first fight? I don't know. It's kind of like, okay. You know what I mean? I don't know what to tell you, man. I really don't know. But, my thing is, like I said, as a promoter, he's really hit or miss. As a fighter in training, you cannot even mess with that guy. Let's talk about McGregor. That fight, he didn't train hard for that. But that was for obvious reasons. But, training-wise, the dude is, crazy dedicated. Lifestyle for a fighter, crazy dedicated. But as a promoter, not so much. Very in and out, right? And also, as a trainer, what's he going to show up every day? I mean, is he going to go in the locker room before the fight and be like, hey, dude, this is what you got to do? Or, I don't know. Speaking of trainers, Mark Breland is not fired. He is not fired. I forgot about that little news. He's not fired. A lot of people just assumed he was fired. Like crazy Wilder was against that. He was definitely against it. Okay, something just went wrong. Not sure what happened here. I've been having some weird issues. 503, can you still hear me? I got to make sure you can still hear me. Could you text me if you can still hear me? Because I think it's the second time it's happened. And I just got to make sure because I do want to take care of that if that's not the case. So if you could text me, that'd be great because I just got to make sure. Okay, good. Whew. I actually, just in case you weren't by, I started calling on the line just to hear myself, just in case. Okay, good. something just went kooky like it did earlier. But it's okay. It was just a momentary lapse of something. Okay, so let's keep it in the range of, well, first of all, Wilder, I know a lot of people, for obvious reasons, want to see Joshua and Fury fight. Obviously, right? That's a given. And, you know, it's not, still fit it in. The first date they're working with is July 18th. And I think that's what the contract said. It can't happen unless they, you know, maneuver it. They are open to maneuver it potentially, but I think the fight had to happen by July 18th. And that's the same weekend they used for Pacquiao Thurman last year. And the way Bob said it, it makes sense, you know. I mean, it's in the middle of the summer, so, you know, NBA's done. The NFL won't be started yet in the camp. All you got to do is compete with, like, golf and NASCAR and baseball. And actually, you know, ABC, ESPN has plenty of, you know, NBA playoffs and the finals on ABC. So that would be a great place to start in, you know, that May and early June part, right? That'd be big. And then they also, I think Fox has the U.S. Open for golf. ESPN has Wimbledon. I know that's not a huge rating, but the finals do get better ratings, and that's just another thing that they can promote. And actually the French Open too. I'm just thinking of like stuff they could do commercials on. And the biggest thing, like I said, the U.S. Open for Fox, and then also they have like maybe 10 or 11, 12 days out, like a week and a half basically out. They do have the MLB All-Star Game, which gets a healthy rating. And so they can – I remember they ran commercials during that too, and they'll probably hit that up even more. So, you know, you don't have the distraction of the NBA and the NFL in the middle of the summer. So I think that's why they're going to take advantage of that time. It's almost dead middle of the summer, right? But once you get into August, unless you're a huge, huge name, there are a lot of folks even busier then, because it's kind of like, all right, we got to really get what we got out of summer left, especially like in the Midwest and the North where it gets cold in the fall pretty quickly. So as far as the numbers go, actually, let's talk this glove game really quick, okay? So anyway, the rematch is going to happen July 18th. It sounds like that's the working date. I think they'll, you know, sounds like that's the one. So the glove game. And if you look at the first fight and the second fight, sure. And that's why I wanted to say the first fight first, because there was no glove gate thing after it. But Tyson Fury, his gloves look funky. They do. Especially his jab hand. You know, the front of it does look a little just not like there's something in it, whatever. But a lot of it has to do with how he throws his jab. And I've heard a couple of people, Stitch, who was in his corner, a couple other people say it's kind of like a whip, you know. So it's kind of a backhand, and then he'll throw it straight, or he'll throw it a left hook in there. And it did seem like his left hooks, if you look at his punches, and like I'm saying, this is first fight as well, not just second fight. First fight too, that it was almost like some clothesline left hands. Landing, you know, like on the wrist. And so the conspiracy is that he moved Fury, somehow got his hand down further, so there's nothing up top in the glove really, but his hand would be, and his fist is lower, so basically where your wrist would be, or close in that area, your hand would be. Now you'd really have to design the glove a different way to do it, I'm pretty sure, because that hand wrap is huge. And when you get that glove on, it's not like you got a lot of leeway. And Stitch even said, you know, he does like it tighter. Some guys like it a little loose. Some guys like it tighter, pause. So, you know, at first glance, when you look at a video of him pawing his jab and throwing a left hand almost like a clothesline and with his wrist, okay. Sure, you can look at that and say, oh, yeah, I guess, and obviously he hit him with, some of the shots he hit him on the side of the head and the back of the head. He was clotheslining him a little bit. He was roughing him up. That was his strategy, dude. It's not like we haven't seen that. Orlando, a lot of people, yell at what Orlando Salido did or what Andre Ward did in the Kovalev fight. I'm thinking about Salido throughout his career. But Salido-Lomachenko comes to mind. But a lot of those folks that were mad at those two guys, they weren't mad at Fury, but clearly he was roughhousing him. He told us he was going to do that. I figured he'd do some of it. I knew he'd work more and be in front of him and then reset, but I didn't think he'd go that far with it. And that came with the weight, too. All of a sudden you're like, yeah, he is going to headlock him and beat him up and just roughhouse him, dude. There's nothing wrong with that, But the glove gate thing, dude, to get your hand down like that, it just, unless if you put your hands together and you move your thumb way inside, but then you can really hurt you. I know you have, a lot of tape and protection there, but it would hurt your hand too, dude. I would say he just roughed him up, dude. He hit him on the side of the head. He clotheslined him sometimes, but that's just what it is. Maidana was hitting the back of Mayweather's neck with those overhand rights. That's just boxing, dude. There's all sorts of styles of boxing, and I say this all the time. You go back to the 20s, 30s, the 40s, a lot of the 50s. The fights and the fighters that people go, this is what boxing was built on. These were the guys who really, brought it to where, it had to be and whatnot. But when you look at it, dude, it was like rabbit punches all the time back in the day. So I keep it straight. I watch Porter. I watch Timothy Bradley. I watch all styles of fights. And I don't sit there and comment oh, this one's worse than others. Yeah, can it be ugly at times? Sure. But I just think it's an excuse, from the Wilder side. I think it's an excuse from the fans that are Wilder fans. Or not fans, fanboys. But the whole Glovegate thing, if you think about what you're talking about, he's going to hurt. The way he'd have to crunch his hand to even shrink it to get it to the wrist, dude, and not only that, but so you're going to hit somebody right there, you're probably going to hurt your hand more than anything. He just got roughed up, dude. If you want to say, oh, you hit him in the side of the head, the back of the head, well, at least just say that. At least say, oh, there was a clothesline in there. Say he roughed him up. But don't come with this Glovegate stuff. The commission is in the ring, too, between rounds. So when did they have time to do it and then make it look good? Like I said, if you look at his left glove in both fights, clear word, I keep saying, because it's in both fights and other fights, too. Fury has that weird flick jab, the backhanded jab, and then he throws his left hand or left hook a different way, a tad different. It is a little bit more stiff arm, straight arm, left hand, but hey, it's effective, isn't it? So I think it's just excuses. I think the controversy, though, does help sell. Speaking of sell, we've heard estimates from 750 to 850. It's pretty early. They still got to count them. But we're not going to get a press release anyway. You heard a couple of folks out there. Of course, Coppinger's going to be out there, and Ioli got out there. And it's funny, Ioli's like, the piracy is what ruined it. Because, he was calling for, his sources said it was going to do, 1.25, 1.5. Or, you can't just listen to Bob Arum saying $2 million. You know what I mean? You had Glazer out there saying 1.8. Actually, Montero came on. He said it was trending to 1.82. I don't know if he got that from Glazer. He was going with Bob or whatever, but he actually came out. I heard he reducted his statement that he was way off. But anyone getting numbers from Glazer, come on, dude. That guy's a joke. Time and time again, if you just look at facts and what he says, it's totally backwards. Not every single time. He's not going to lie about everything, but he said it was trending at 1.8. That was his projection, and he's always close. And it's not near 1.8. Here's what Bob Arum couple of folks jumped on this as far as the rematch clause being exercised, but I do have to say Joe Abib interviewed Bob, and this is where I got the information from Bob. But actually, I take that back. World Boxing News is where Beeb got it. I take that back. That's right. Because they talked to Bob Arum first, I guess. Now, I'm just going to tell you what he says, but I'm not going to sit there and go too deep on it because, it's Bob. It's the promoter of the event. So you think he's going to lowball himself? But anyway, he said, it's too early to know. Maybe that 800,000 numbers in the ballpark, it may end up being that, but they're not talking about the digital buys. And he says they have over 300,000 digital buys, which if that's true, that would be a ton for them. And remember, they get the network and the folks involved get to keep that. They don't have to split that on the digital buys through their apps. Whereas the cable companies and, the distributors and all that, that's different. But, so he's saying, oh, yeah, it's probably 1.2. Here's the deal. It's Bob Arum, though. So, it's best to get multiple sources. Jake Donovan, a couple of guys really get extra sources, not just one source, not just the promoter, or even we saw in one of the fights this summer, or maybe it was a Spence fight, they went to Bob for a pay-per-view number for the, for the competitor. I'm not going to take Bob's word for it. You know what I mean? But either way, once we got to fight week, I thought it was 500, 600,000, right? But once I saw the live gate and they started talking about closed circuit, I thought, okay, this thing could probably do 700 or 800,000. So right in that realm is pretty good. If you look at the last 15, 18 years, first of all, there's been no heavyweight selling pay-per-view here, obviously. The heavyweight division was dormant, for a while. But you need to be Oscar, Floyd, Pac, and then Canelo, which was built off of his fan base, but also being, on 3 undercards of Floyd's and then fought Floyd. So to do $1 million is not just a walk in the park. Go look up Oscar De La Hoya's numbers and tell me how many times he did $1 million, considering how many was on it. Same with Pacquiao, same with Cotto. Like, to say it's a disappointment and then to blame piracy. It's, people are stealing. No way. They're stealing streams? I can't believe it. One thing it did do good in was the bars. It had done better than it, a while ago. He said something like 10 or 15 years that they sold to the most bars and, movie theaters, whatever. I think they sold 22 or 23,000 movie tickets around the country. Whatever. These are just stats. But yeah, once I saw the gate, I was like, okay. And this, a lot of people said the 1.1 was the break even, and Bob did say that. But he also said that earlier. But then once it got close to Friday, Bob actually said it's no longer that; it's in the 800s because they went about 3 or 4 million more at the live gate and a couple more million at the closed circuit than they thought. So that break even went down. Now, the UK numbers, I don't know. I've heard I've heard some numbers. I'm not going to say what they are because I don't know them to be true at all. So either way, it's a massive event. I'm really wondering, though, how and let's be honest, like I mentioned earlier, the Whyte fight fan in America, how many folks are going to come out for Fury in this rematch? Like, what kind of dent did he put in? The ones that bought it, yeah. The ones that cheering him for him, yeah, they're going to buy it. But what about the folks that saw it, know him, but just didn't, they streamed it. Or they just heard about it. They're busy, but then they saw the after effects and they saw a knockout. And obviously, a Whyte heavyweight champion here is a pretty big deal, especially when it takes place here. Even Vitaly Klitschko got popular for a tad bit after that Lennox Lewis fight. So it'll be interesting to see how it does. Bob also said, hey, the MGM wants to actually put the tickets up a little bit more. They think they can hit 20 million. And anything over 10 million in America live gate is a big deal. It is a big deal. So we'll see. I don't really know. I'm going to go ahead. We will talk a little bit about that UK fight, Scott Quigg and Jonah Carroll. We'll talk about the PBC on Fox Heavyweight. I really like those prospect fights, the heavyweight prospects fights with F.A. and Frank Sanchez. I'm going to go ahead and bring in 310 Mark to the fold. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Chris? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm going to turn you up a little bit, though. You are a little soft. I think I'll just bring it. All right. Yeah, I got you.
Is that any better, or?
Yeah, you're good. I can hear you clear.
Okay, yeah, let me know. Yeah, because, I don't know. I'm using this new set of this little headpiece, and I don't know if, sometimes it sounds like I'm really far. So if it does that, let me know, and I'll just, take it off. But, yeah. So, I'm really, didn't get to call in last week. It sucks because, I was KO'd. Just couldn't do it. But, yeah, as far as let's just talk, let me get the Wilder and Fury shit out of the way, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to start, get that out of the way. Then we can talk Mikey and whatnot.
Yeah. Because I got to get take on Mikey shit too. But here's the thing: is like, I don't know. I mean, well, obviously, dude. I mean, I'm not displeased with the way that it went. How could I be? I was happy. Not just because Deontay Wilder, got manhandled, but. Because it's not like I have any more, criticism of him as I've criticized Fury, If anything, Fury, I've criticized him more, hated on him more, so, And
it wasn't a jab and grab, So if you bring all these people in that are casuals, it would have sucked if it was a jab and grab. And that's, like, the most thing I'm worried about. They saw some punches landing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but there is a bad side of that, though. The bad side is, they got to see Wilder, and it just doesn't really look good for the sport in that sense. Yeah, I mean, it was a good fight, but a lot of people are questioning how the hell did this guy make it up to this point? He doesn't even know how to he holds his gloves. He's always trying to push his gloves back because they're not on tight enough. Like, he hasn't worn gloves that many times in his life or something. Like, you know what I mean? So, these are some of the comments in the barber shop that, I had overheard. I wasn't part of the conversation. But, just the overall consensus was they were just and people did. What was funny is people did bring up, man, how did this guy knock out that dude, Luis Ortiz, who was so slick? This is literally what, I'm paraphrasing what he's saying. He's like, this guy was so slick. Had this awesome amateur. You saw how he was moving. He was like a 200-pound, 250-pound Floyd Mayweather. How did he knock him out twice and then look this bad in this fight? How is that possible? People were and they were yeah, man. See, boxing has always been you know what I mean? And it was just it was really interesting for me to overhear this a day after the fight. I was like, wow, I didn't know that this was the general sentiment. And so. Yes, it is good that it was a good fight, from my perspective. But I don't know. That doesn't look good when you just blow, when you show when you say, hey, okay, let's make this fight real. Because honestly, truly, I don't know if I'm tripping just by saying this, but I think that it was a last minute thing. I think that they just decided to just, hey man, go out. No, we're not playing any games. None of that stuff, again, Tyson Fury, this is real. And he's like, okay, I'll show you what happens if this is going to be a real fight. And we all saw what happened, basically, So that's why I don't think that's all that, it's really, really not all of that.
To your point, it was one-sided past the first two rounds. So you're right about, hey, how many people are going to be like, hey, dude, that was a great brawl, rather than, well, isn't he going to get his ass kicked, But I want to see how popular Fury is now off of that,
Well, you got I'm sure he's going to be pretty popular, but it's like, people look at it like, look at his record. How did they take this guy from 40 something, like, that's that's not too far from where Floyd was, a year or two before he retired or whatever, before he took that Showtime deal. That's not too far. I mean, what do you have, 43, 44 fights, 40 knockouts, 40, come on, that's a real shiny record for a guy who doesn't even know how to fucking go. He doesn't even know how to, his stance, all that shit. Everything is like, I don't think that it looked good, but again, I can't say that I'm not happy about it because it would contradict everything I was standing for. Like, you know what I mean? It wasn't like, and I want to get to the part where it's like, dude, like, yeah, it was never about me being right. I don't really, I was happy that this happened. Like, I was like, oh, good. I smiled. I was like, oh, this is fucking awesome. Actually, I watched the fight a couple of times. I thought it was like really, really good. It was my point of my rants all the time about fake fights, because honestly, I don't like ranting about the sport being fake. Now, do you realize how non-productive that fucking shit is? You know what I mean? It's not very productive. I don't know about other boxing fans out there, but actually, pretty important things going on in my life. It's, taken a lot for, a lifetime to sacrifice to build. So, honestly, ranting about boxing being fake as opposed to, like, having fun with it and getting predictions correct and talking shit about Teddy Atlas, I find that a lot more appealing, more positive mind. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not the whole point all the time was to try in my own little way to, like, maybe someone will hear something and tell somebody who has control over this shit, and they'll actually put an end to the fucking nonsense. Like, you know what I mean? Because it was the past few years I've been seeing it, and I'm like, man, is this a sport? Is boxing a sport, or is it really just something that's entirely predicated on gambling schemes, robbing fans?
Right.
To bet one way when you already have it set up already anyway, and is this a sport or is this a gambling scam? Like, you know what I mean? That was what I was always trying to fucking put an end to it. You know what I mean? Like that's what it was all about.
Let me ask a question. So when you in this fight, because like I said, we've gone down the road a couple different times on some of this stuff, and I've met you halfway. We've disagreed. I've said, yeah, I hear you, dude. I sent you a fight the other day that looks like a fake. They're investigating it for a fake fight. It looked like a fake fight to me. I've seen plenty throughout the time. Or, we've also talked about the show-up guys where they're just like, hey, I'm going to take my shot, and I'm going to get my money. I'm going to get the hell out of here. That's kind of fixed, too, in a way, right? But with the over-under stuff, I think you really – the over-under stuff is where you really have attacked it very well. My thing is, if they want a trilogy and if it was all set up, why would they want Wilder to look that bad? Wouldn't they want the first two rounds extend to the eighth round?
I know, and that's the reason why I agree with you, and that's the reason why I didn't predict that last week. What was my prediction? I said that it was going to be close. I said that it was that Wilder was either going to give it to Wilder on decision or some shit like that, and set it up for. It was all based around setting up a trilogy the whole time. There is a couple of important things that came out if you pay attention to what Bob has been saying. A couple of days before the fight and after the fight, there may have been some provisions added to the contract as far as the rules, the stipulations behind the rematch, behind a third fight, and how that third fight would actually happen. Have you noticed that? Even Max Kellerman didn't even get the details on it. He mentioned on First Take. He was like, I didn't even get the details on what the actual breakdown was for the whole third fight, making a third fight, until now, until after the fight.
What details are you talking about? Because we had those pretty early with the 60-40 and all that, but to your point, they haven't, they do tweak contracts all the way to the end. So you do have a point there. What do you mean by what changed or whatever?
Something that, when he spoke to Michelle Phelps, he did say when she was asking him about, like, this is before the fight, in, you know, one of the build-up interviews, the day of the fight, or, you know, day before, she asked him something about the rematch thing, and then he was explaining. He was like, "Oh yeah," you know, like he's like, and now we have a clause in it that says, you know, the loser, if the loser wants the rematch, then, you know, we're going to go ahead and do that. Like, you know, after he, you know, reiterated the whole 60-40 thing, then he said, and now we have, you know, this thing, and so he made it seem like this is something new, and then, you know, that.
Yeah,
plus,
that had been
you know,
out there for a long time. That part.
Oh, the whole. But I think both parties have to, like, whatever Max Kellerman was just talking about today or yesterday that he just found out. It's on, like, whatever is the last recap that they just did on First Take, you know, about this fight. It was brought up, like, and he said, yeah, I didn't even know. I just found that out right now, like, you know.
Okay.
About something about the third fight. Yeah. But I don't know. That's all. That's all just like whatever. Who knows? Speculation. I don't know if it's true. I don't really, like, you know what I mean. But it has led me to believe, and I had a growing suspicion that, you know, that I really do believe that they backed out. And boxing has always been like this. There have been fights years past where, like, you know, when the suspicion gets a little bit too high, then they don't do what they, like, you know, like, then all of a sudden something weird happens. The fake shit doesn't happen. The dive doesn't happen. All of a sudden it's real. We all know that, like, you know, what they did is they set themselves up to not do a third fight. The media, the people, the fans made it very, very clear they don't want to see a third fight. To force it on the public, I don't know. I'll be surprised if they pull it off. I'll take my hat off to them, but it doesn't look like, you know, there's going to be a third fight, honestly, once they look at the numbers. And just for a little, like, right before the fight, by the way, 2 weeks ago, like, I'm seeing comments about, like, you know, when I was saying, like, oh, yeah, those knockdowns were fake and all that shit and stuff like that. You know, like, the stuff on YouTube about, I was like, oh, there's plenty of shit, like the 9th round knockdown thing, those videos, like, when you see the comments on there, it was like, you know, I'll just read a couple. I got it open right here. It's like, like, one guy says, the first knockdown was staged, but I'm not surprised that boxing has become more and more WWE these days, totally scripted. Like, you know what I mean? And then another guy is like, Wilder is so fast, the film can't see his punches. They're all referring to the 9th round fucking shit. Okay? And then, like, you know, people laughing at that. And it's like,
yeah, but it is angle. So, you got to admit, you need the right angle, though, right? Am I right about that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
you can look at other angles and they don't look.
Yeah. We'll get into that. Like literally, right? They say literally just, and people are saying shit like, okay, so fixed. It's like the top thing, and people are like, it certainly appears so. And it's like, this is it was a phantom from the gods. That's like another main comment. And then another guy saying,
but
you can see the
that
first
video
knockout.
though is an angle that makes it look like he missed twice. So that doesn't surprise me, to be honest.
But it does actually show that, like, you know, because you know, obviously, you know, after that, you said you were like, oh no, look at the replay from the PBC version, and then you'll see the first punch, like the first right hand does partially land. And I was like, and then I looked and I was like, oh yeah, I see it grazed him, but it also is deceiving because it makes it look like that was the punch that made him go down when he was already on his way down. That's the whole point.
Sure.
Like, he was already trying to go down.
He was already off balance.
That basically only grazed basically just grazed like the side of his head. It wasn't like, but it makes it look like that was the reason.
Yeah, or it
like,
hit his shoulder. It could have hit his shoulder in his neck. You know what I mean?
It was literally sliding off. It was sliding. Like he was already going down, and then, you know, the hook after that, you know, obviously missed. But that was my whole point, is that it wasn't really I viewed it as more of like a complete bullshit. Like, you know, I think after the fight, I was like, why are people calling that a knockdown? It was an off balance thing. That's how I always viewed it. And, you know, you got to also understand.
My thing was contact. Like, I just disagreed with you on the contact, but I hear what you're saying because it didn't look like much. You know what I mean? It did kind of look like he just stumped.
And also, I will say this too. It's like, hey, to get to my mindset, it's not like I'm on a fucking one-track mind. To get to this mindset, to get on these, follow one dot and try to look at this shit and see what's going to be fake and shit like that. You have to be able to see everything from as many different perspectives as possible. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, what I mean by that
that's
is
a good way to do it.
So anybody who heard my segment and then goes back and says, oh, he was lying about the fucking 9th round thing because it did partially touch. It's like, okay, you're looking for a reason for it not to be fake. Okay, like at that point, after I saw what happened in the 12th round, I was like, at that point, I'm looking for supporting evidence to see how the whole fucking thing is fucking choreographed. Because once I see one fake thing, which was clearly fake in the 12th, which is indisputable, the guy fucking closed his eyes, acted like he was concussed, then stood up and acted like he was fucking concussed. There is no reason at any fucking time ever, like, for a fighter to do that. If he does that one thing, we know that that's fake. So if he did that fake, and it's
and
not
his
like
legs
he said,
weren't effective. His
exactly,
legs, he got up. I'll give you that. His legs were really looking good.
And that's how and that is what my shit is based, and that's what it's based off of. So say this shit about the 9th, it's because like I'm looking for supporting shit because I know the shit is fake, because it was like, it was already, why would he do that in the 12th? Hey, I can see a guy doing that in the 12th, and then after the fight saying, oh, no, man, that was nothing. He didn't hurt me. Actually, fighters always say that. They always say, oh, no, he didn't hurt me. No, because it was nothing. I just it was nothing. I was not hurt.
That is true.
He did not say that. He was claiming like, oh, I don't know what happened. Like, oh,
I didn't know how I got up.
Exactly.
I forgot what happened. I blacked out. It's true.
Exactly. So when you look at that shit, then people will realize, they hear my voice, all this shit, makes like, oh, this guy's bullshitting. He doesn't like Deontay Wilder. No, I'm actually sticking up for you guys. Like,
I can attest. You don't not like Wilder just on some random shit at all. That you've been the whole time you've been part of the show. You haven't, beyond the, it's not really being critical talking about his skills. I was critical last week of all the excuses and shit like that, but that doesn't mean that we hate him or something.
Yeah, no, and it's not like that. Yeah, it's not like that. I mean, I don't like his approach to the game. Don't get me wrong. I don't like that shit. And it's his whole shit is predicated on Deontay Wilder doesn't give a shit about boxing. He doesn't give a shit about this sport, about his craft. He's made that clear. Like, he's the opposite of Floyd Mayweather. What has Floyd educated everybody on? Floyd's belief was always predicated on completely mastering his craft, putting everything you have into something and getting it perfect. Floyd literally changed the world for millennials. It sounds crazy, but I know that he did, of what he did. And Deontay is the opposite. Deontay has the mentality like, yo, all I need is one punch. All I need is 2 seconds. Well, basically what you're doing is you're telling kids that are looking up to you to say, fuck everyone. I'm going to be rich. Watch. I guarantee it. All I'm going to do is just buy these free lotto tickets every fucking day. And, I'm bound to hit the fucking jackpot and become a millionaire sooner or later, dude, man. Yeah, man. You see how brilliant that type of thinking is? That's not good for society. That's not good for your fans that look up to you. Like, when I look at someone like Marquez, when I look at somebody like Maidana, when I look at, like, these guys that came from nothing, and, like, it's life lessons. This is the only sport where you can watch a fight 10, 20, 30 years from that many years ago over and over and over again throughout your fucking life.
Yeah, and it still translates, and it translates better, actually. No, you're right.
Exactly.
There's no doubt about it. Now, one thing we do have to put in, though, he was late to boxing. So he wasn't doing it when he's 6. But you're right.
Sure.
We haven't seen – we'll see, like, oh, he throws his jab in this fight, but then it'll go away. Like, he'll show us little mini flashes, but then they just go away. And he'll, like, gallop out of the way with his long legs. And, no, I hear what you're saying. No, he's definitely not a craftsman. That's for sure. He may work hard and grind and all that, and he's got a great backstory. But as far as
it's not about that.
And
he's not trying to master shit. He doesn't care.
No, that's exactly it. Yeah. No, obviously, and maybe that's why he's staying with the team. Maybe that's just why he's staying with the team, because he can get away with still not working on stuff and applying it in. You can work on stuff in the camp, but if you're not applying it in the fight, then it's kind of like, that's great you worked on it, but it looks good, but not if you can't do it.
And just 2 seconds, right? And for with all that stuff, for me to believe that these lifelong boxers can't avoid one punch, just one punch, do you realize how disrespectful that is to the sport in general? That's the reason why I never fell for this shit. That's it. So anyone that thinks because you didn't get that, because the fight wasn't fake, that means everything's wrong. No. I know that the Luis Ortiz fight, both of them were fake. I know they were both fake. He knows how to avoid one fucking punch, okay? That's obvious. Where was his career? What was Luis Ortiz doing right before everyone always forgets, right before the Wilder fight? What was he doing? He couldn't even get a fight. It was at the end of his career. There was nothing. He wasn't going to get anything. He signs for the Wilder fight.
He signed with Matchroom for a couple fights. And yeah, you're right. He had that big Jennings fight, blew him up, and then it was nothing. That was 2015.
There was nothing.
Yeah.
He was getting stonewalled. And keep in mind, this is a guy who Tyson Fury on record said to fight Luis Ortiz is career suicide. He's quoted saying that in the past. Tyson Fury said that about Luis Ortiz. Okay, he said that himself years ago. Okay, so we can't negate those facts. He signs onto the Wilder fight. He pops dirty on a steroid thing, on a banned substance. Somehow he still gets the fight. Okay, he walks in there. I said it was going to be fake. All of a sudden he gets knocked out 10 seconds after the over-under hit. Same shit as I keep saying all the time. Okay, that happens. And then what do you know? He gets fights. All of a sudden now he has this new deal where he gets these gimme fights, 2-3 gimme fights, and then a Wilder rematch. That's why I knew that was going to be fake too. That's where that comes from. All this shit, it doesn't negate, none of that negates those facts. All this shit is still there. That's what I'm saying. That's the whole fucking point. That was the whole thing. This shit is still going on, and, this is a sport that I have a deeper appreciation maybe than most of these fans. It's bettered my life literally by watching some of these fights.
That's the one thing, too. Just to add on what you're talking about, if you pay attention to other sports, Vegas is routinely right in over-unders for sports numbers. You know what I mean? There's times where you go, I think that 12-point spread, I'm going to put some money on it. Then they win by 13. So it has to be in a lot of different sports, not just boxing, because they're very accurate in a lot of ways. I know it because I bet college football a lot every year. And there's sometimes where I beat
That's even worse.
There's sometimes where I beat them because you have 50 games to choose from. But also there's times where you're like, God, they're right on the fucking money. So anyway, do you think that they didn't stop the fight because of the over-under and that's why they waited? Because they could have stopped the fight any time past the
What do you mean?
Past the
this fight?
Yeah. Or you just thought they were never going to stop it because it's money?
No. This was a real fight, across the board. I mean, yeah, they tried.
It was 6.5, wasn't it?
No.
6.5?
It was
7.5.
It was 10.5.
Oh.
10.5. 10.5. Yeah, midway
right,
to the 11th.
People have been
nowhere,
saying
that's
that all
what I'm saying.
That's 6.5, 7.5. I knew that was bullshit.
No, man. It was 10.5, and that's the reason why everybody's so surprised. And I'm telling you, all these comments that I'm seeing and a lot of stuff all over the place, people were starting to really look into that first fight for whatever reason. People were starting to think this is fucking fake. And honestly, I do believe that through the powers that be, I think that they just didn't want to take the risk. Honestly, this is a real fight, and we see what happens when Wilder is in a real fucking fight. What happens? And that is another reason why it proves everything. Actually, the events of what happened actually proves even more than of what everything I was saying. Because how can a guy get blown away in that fashion? It wasn't like Anthony Joshua. It wasn't. Anthony Joshua, like, you know, he at least won a round. He was actually like you know, he was able, like, you know, outbox fucking Ruiz for a little bit, and then
he recovered a little bit. His legs weren't as bad. We have go in a fight though. We have seen legs go in a fight. So you don't think a side of the head affected him at all?
I think that he went down, but I because of it. But honestly, I think that he just never had good footwork altogether, and I think he was just a fish out of water. And I think that
right, but I'm talking about legs. His legs were gone, not his footwork. His legs were gone after that shot in the third round, though. And we have seen legs go.
No, man. That was from his outfit coming in the ring. So I wasn't from that. No. Yeah, it could have been.
That's the thing about that. Okay, let's go off the reason. Okay, let's believe that, Deontay. That's your own fault then. You know, so that's an excuse in an excuse. You know, that's what I broke down. Remember, we said that a bunch. There's reasons and excuses. Well, this one's a combo. Okay, let's believe you. Well, there's no excuse. You know, that's you, dude. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And you can't. And hey, if I did get something right about last week, and I did say, hey, Wilder he's not the brightest guy under those bright lights. Why? Because of these excuses that he chooses. I said that before, and then this happens. I was like, oh man, that's pretty hilarious. I was talking shit about Deontay, you know, his bullshit excuses. But you know, I mean, that as far as his legs going out, though, by the way, I mean, I just think he was hurt by it, and then his leg, and he was always a slow moving dude. He's not very athletic. Like, I think, was it you that said he's one of these guys? He's 6'7", he can't dunk. He's like that. He's not a very good athlete.
No. That's Anthony Joshua. He's not athletic in a ring. He's athletic outside of a ring, though. Anthony Joshua can't dunk. He's so stiff. Yeah, he is. I've seen him play basketball.
Well, I mean, we saw him trying to knock out Charlie Zelenoff, and I mean, I don't know, man. It looks like something I saw in high school.
That's boxing. That's what I'm saying. Boxing. He's a mess.
That was Charlie
he's a mess
Z,
in the ring.
That was Charlie Z, though.
Yeah, but
I mean,
he's running around the freaking place. How are you going to cut a guy off when you got to run across the gym, Mike? I don't think that really means much.
I don't know, man. Bronze medalist?
The point is, he's not athletic in the ring. There's no athleticism that really comes in.
It's very, very obvious there. But he got blown out of the water, Chris. Now, like, you know, like, that's the thing. I heard the show last week or whatever. I'm not going to go into all the stuff, like, you know, I disagree with, like, but it's like, dude, I mean, you got this was not like an AJ thing. I'm not trying to stick up for AJ. I mean, I think he's one of the largest.
Hold on. I said the first two rounds. After that, he got his ass kicked. I never said it was a close fight. I said the first two rounds. Dude, he landed as many jabs as Fury in the first two rounds. I would have put money that never happened. So that's all I'm saying. After the two rounds, it was done. I never said it was a competitive fight. In the first two rounds,
you said that it was just like, you literally said the same thing happened to AJ. I don't know, man. That's a little bit different. Yeah, it's similar,
but
the
same exact thing. I was talking about the rematch.
That he got hurt.
I didn't say it was the same thing.
Yeah. In the first fight, that he got hurt, and then, like, you know, his equilibrium was off and it fucked up the rest of the fight.
Yeah, it did, but it went a different way, though. It went a different way. AJ's legs weren't like that. Not even close.
Yeah.
I was saying similarity. I was bringing up similarities to explain something. I didn't say it worked out the same fight. He was up on his feet and looking a lot better than Wilder was in the corner when they stopped the fight.
But this type of loss isn't something that you can really come. I mean, it's going to be very, very difficult for him to come back and for them to, you know, and you know, if they come back and try to make this fucking rematch close or some shit like that, then we really know it's fucking fake, because they're like you know, if Fury was able to do it this time the way that he did that, there's no reason why he's not going to do it in a quicker amount of time next time. Like, you know what I mean? And they know that, and the public. I mean, I'm doubtful that third fight's gonna happen, and it's and it's not smart for Wilder either. I have the fight in the background now, by the way, and fucking Wilder's legs have always been too like wide and weird, and he's always been like weird, doing these weird long.
His stance is horrible. When he doesn't do it much, but he used to do that leap gallop thing back to get out of the way of the punch.
Oh.
I always saw that was gonna get. But anyway, let's wrap some of this up. Get in your final words, just so we can get to Mikey and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But do your final words on the Wilder stuff or whatever you want to finish with.
Well, yeah, no, and hey, for anyone that thinks that fucking Tyson Fury isn't the type of person to have done what he did in the first fight, for the first fight of being fake, okay. Did we forget what this guy did on the Joe Rogan podcast? This is a podcast, a YouTube show that is literally the most watched thing on YouTube. It's probably the number one podcast in the fucking world by if people actually listen.
It is. He makes $20 million a year off of it.
And he literally claimed on that show that he saw the homeless people in LA, and so he decided to donate his whole purse to charity. Now, there are certain lies that I say that Deontay Wilder says that can be perceived as stupid. Now, this type of lie that someone says, that doesn't come from a person. It's like a criminal-minded type of lie. You don't lie. You don't lie about some shit like that. You don't say you gave.
He lied about McGregor
too.
Charity. He lied about McGregor. He said McGregor offered me to train him, and when McGregor's fight was around, they asked him. He said, "I've never met him in my life."
Well, yeah, but that's like a whatever, maybe people think I'm cool. To say that you're going to give your whole shit to charity, that's not. I mean, that's where I cross the line as far as if I'll think someone, if their morals are just off, they weren't raised correctly. It's just so that's a sociopathic type of.
Plus,
mind.
people don't realize you get more money back. That way.
Yeah.
If you donate $8 million, you end up getting more money.
Exactly. As long as you don't go around talking about it, just the energy of that's how the universe works. It always comes back to you. You always end up getting back more. But that is what that is, man. It's just I wish I would have been able to get it in last week, but but that's the reason why fans should speak up. And when you're suspecting things, speak up, because you never really know who might be listening and who it may make a difference. Who knows? I mean, I was just even if I only had a 1% chance of making a difference in anything in the sport, I would do it. That's where it came from. That it wasn't whatever. But let's talk about Mikey Garcia, because I don't know what your fucking thoughts were on this, but I actually think he got exposed. And this isn't hate. This isn't hate at all, because he just showed that, okay, number one, his legs aren't anywhere near what his legs were at 135. I got to look at his 140 fight. He only fought Lipinets at 40, I think, or whatever. I don't know. But I got to look at those and see. But his legs have significantly decreased. Now, why do I say that? Look at the amount of lateral movement that he used. He's known for using that lateral movement, circling his opponents, having great footwork, and working off that jab. And no, he wasn't, and he usually does that while he's, calculating, at what his opponent's going to do. That's usually when he's doing that. He didn't have the ability to do that. He was trying to do it a couple times, but he doesn't move as fast. He does not have the same legs, and he gets hit.
It took him a while just to land it.
Exactly.
It took him 4 rounds to slam the jab, dude.
Exactly. So he turned into like a body jack type of dude, where it's like, okay, let me just see what this guy's doing for 4 rounds, and then I'll try to do it afterwards. He stayed very disciplined, good. He showed his class. Yeah, I was proud of him for that. The 5th round, I was like, awesome. But he can't beat it. Did that not change your opinion about the Danny Garcia fight? Your personal opinion? I think he loses against Danny Garcia now. Easy. Well, not easy, but he'll lose.
No, but you're right. His body itself just does not look good either. Like, this is clearly not a good weight for him.
Yeah, and that's the reason why he's getting hit more, because he can't use his legs to get out of situations. And Danny Garcia is not the type. You got to be able to move to beat Danny Garcia. You do. That's just the fact. He's gonna get hit more. And let's talk about Jessie Vargas. First of all, okay, when's the last time he had that many that much acne on his back? Okay, guys, he was juiced the fuck up for this fight, and I'm proud of him for it. You know, that's a real chick.
It's actually been a handful of fights now in a row that it's been like that, dude. It's heavy too. Heavy.
It wasn't for the Pacquiao fight, but okay, whatever. I don't remember.
That was like 2016 or something, but yeah, I hear what you're saying, dude. It was heavy. It was heavy.
But that's what I'm saying. So, but I'm proud of him for that. That's a real champion. Like, you know, I mean, hey, the champions, people are the best, the willing to do anything to get to that point. So I you know, kudos to him. But anyway, he was a little bit too, obviously, way overconfident and throwing wild ass shit. That's the reason why he got caught. He was he thought he was bullying fucking Mikey around, so he was throwing wild ass fucking overhand right. Because, you know, he was just really trying to, you know, impose his size on him, you know, but. You know, with that jab he was throwing, but the look on his face when he was throwing the jab, he basically seemed like, yeah, this is 147. That's what it feels like at this. Like, that's what he was trying to do. And, you know, someone like Danny Garcia, someone like Sean Porter, these guys, they don't throw this wild-ass crazy. They don't make mistakes like that. So, I mean, Mikey, he really got lucky with that fifth round, you know, because that really had Jessie, like, dazed and confused for a solid 5 rounds. And then we see the difference, like, you know, when a real fighter like Jessie Vargas, when he gets hurt, look how he reacted to that. And look at how someone like Deontay reacted. Look at how someone like AJ reacted. Big fucking difference. You know what I mean? Like, he reacted. He was barely even talking in the corner. It was almost going to get stopped, shit like that. But, you know, he kept at it. And it was just like, you know, his conditioning, you know, which obviously comes from, you know, working, road work, all that shit. His conditioning is on a different level. That's the reason why he was able to recover. We see these guys like Deontay and all that shit. They don't care about the sport. We know that because they would have been a hell of a lot more conditioned, and they would have been able to recover a lot quicker. So, I mean, that was I think it was a good fight, though, two-way action, but it did expose the fact that Mikey, he's not cut out for 147. He can't beat Sean Porter. He can't beat Danny Garcia. And his option, I'm sure what his plan is to try to get that Pacquiao fight. And then, who knows, just sail off into the sunset after that, or just try to do a couple money fights. I don't know. You didn't notice that, or did you think it was a great performance by Mikey? You didn't think it
no.
Exposed anything?
Well, not as a fighter, but like you said, at this weight class,
he got hurt.
Not. It's all. Let's put it this way, because a lot of times before that Spence fight, it'd have been nice to see him in a welterweight fight, right? But wonder if this was the fight. Now, after this fight, how would we be feeling about a Spence fight? You know what I mean? It's like, nah, I'm good. I don't need to see that because nope. You know what I mean? So he had his chance. You know what I mean? And he had been out of the ring since last March, so it was almost a year. But still, like, as far as his body, just everything, I agree. 147. Like, does he have a chance against Pacquiao? Because of skill, sure.
Why would he be getting hit more too? Like, what's your opinion on that? Why is he getting hit more at 147? Why? Why is he getting hit more?
Like you said, I think it's just like
lack of movement.
Lack of movement. You know, he's just a little heavier set. Yeah, he just doesn't look as fluid. But he did sharpen up and all that. That's against Jessie Vargas. You know what I mean? I love Jessie, but you know, he's definitely a second-tier welterweight.
Yeah, like this made it look like Mikey's almost just like a brawler, like, you know, to a certain degree, like a smart, calculated, tactician brawler, which is a pretty exciting style when you think about it. But but not the normal Mikey Garcia, man. He didn't have those legs. I didn't see any circling. I didn't see any of that shit. It changes my thoughts on the Pacquiao fight. I always thought that Mikey would always have
I have a less chance.
Yeah.
I think he has a less chance of winning now off of that again. That's 2 welterweight fights. And the Spence, I guess you could throw out, in your mind. But now that we got another one, it's like, I agree. I don't see it.
And look at it like this. And the judges aren't going to be. The business of boxing shouldn't want him to win against Pacquiao. Why? Because if he wins against Pacquiao, think about it, guys. Are we going to be like, oh yeah, Mikey Garcia against Spence again because he just beat Pacquiao? No.
That's a good point.
It's just a point.
Yeah, the zone would love it, but in the same breath, that is a good point.
It's a pointless champion.
Really point.
So to think that the judges and all those guys are going to be on his side, no, I don't think they're going to be on his side. I think they're going to be on Pacquiao's side because there's more money in the future for the sport as a whole. I see Pacquiao winning that. Not easily, but probably be like the Thurman fight. It won't be like easy, but it'll be competitive. It's just, but he's gonna get hit a lot, and he's probably gonna go down. Chance he might even get stopped at one point, but that's not, that's like 50-50. But I do think he's gonna for sure go down. That's 100%.
Yeah, I don't see it as close as the Thurman fight right now in my mind. I don't see it that close.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. I was almost afraid to go that far. Yeah. So you think it's going to be even easier, right, for Pacquiao? Yeah, that's what I figured.
Rounds-wise, I had that 8-4, 7-5 for Pacquiao. I can't see because if you notice it, the only reason why he was landing shit on Jessie is because Jessie was fucking he was like, oh, yeah, I'm bullying him, and he was, throwing wild shit. He was throwing a lot of wild shit. He got caught, and it's not something that you do against Mikey. Pacquiao, he's not a wild fighter. It's all short shots. I don't know all these people that think that Pacquiao's some fucking come forward crazy. No. It's he throws really short shots. It's rare. He'll get countered a bunch of times by Mikey. But it's not gonna. He's not gonna be able to land some big shit like he did with Jessie. I think Jessie made a mistake there. He was overconfident. He was juiced up, and that goes to show, too. The steroids, they don't really add much to your punch resistance. I don't really know, man. It didn't give him a chin, but, he was definitely looked a little juiced out those first 3-4 rounds. I'll tell you that. That's the fucking truth. What's the next biggest fight? When is Regis Prograis fighting Hooker in April.
Hooker in April. Okay, that's not that.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. Something to look forward to, and I guess you really think they're gonna do this Wilder this trilogy? The backlash is crazy now, and Wilder's reputation went to the shitter in this country. If you look at these comments, it's insane. About that video.
Yeah, I hear you, but there's so much. People thrive off conspiracies, though, and I think it's going to happen because they would have made the AJ fight for July 12th or 11th with that date they have in Saudi Arabia. They would have just went right to it, and they're not going to do that.
I don't know, man. Exactly, so, and they're trying to.
I think they're going to do it.
But they're trying to push on ESPN, they gave Max and fucking Stephen A. a little script, and Stephen A. is like, well, we saw last time when Tyson Fury got a big win. He's probably gonna fall off and start doing cocaine again. I don't know, guys. You know what I mean?
Especially if it's back July 11th. It'd be different if it was in the fall or something. He have the summer off or something, but. He's not going to – there is always that he is a very hit-or-miss fighter, no doubt about it, but he usually just fights on the level he's fighting, the opponent level. So, yeah, sure, that possibly could be, but the quick turnaround, I don't really see him – well, who knows? I guess
he got blown away, Chris. It was really bad.
Dude, I'm talking about Fury, man. I'm talking about Fury. I'm talking about Fury.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm talking about Fury.
Wait,
I'm saying –
wait. because the shorter amount of time makes it even easier for. Okay, yeah. If they wait longer, people.
He's not going to be out of camp that long. So if he had the whole summer off, he'd be like, there's a potential he could,
for him to fall off.
I get it. Fuck off. Yeah, exactly. Just like, fuck this, So I think that's like the best opportunity for Wilder to have an advantage in this fight is that. To be honest, that's like the only thing I see. And then besides the right hand.
But people are so shocked about, how all his basics were missing. I mean, what did Antonio Tarver say? He was just like, this guy, I can't. He was like, he literally said, it makes me question how he made it this far. How is this happening?
I hear you, but casual fans think a lot. Casual fans think a lot, and if you make a bunch of excuses, now he is the guy that people hate. So if you get a percentage of people hating you, and remember, let's not forget, a white champ who has a personality. You don't think there's going to be white boxing fans that are casuals that aren't going to want to see him kick another guy's ass? I don't know. Look at Roy. I'm glad you brought up Tarver because Roy Jones Tarver. Tarver laid Roy Jones the fuck out in the second one. The third one sold better. So obviously it's different.
What was
it?
The first one was decision, right? The first one was decision.
Yeah, the first one was decision. And then Roy went up to heavyweight, then he came back down, fought the second and third. Yeah.
Roy won that.
The first one. He won the first one, then went to heavyweight,
that's the thing.
Beat Ruiz, and came back down and got starched.
That's the thing, though. Wilder, like I said, that's the reason why I wasn't predicting Tyson win, because I was like, if Tyson wins, everyone's going to remember what happened in the first fight. And because, it was a draw, but everyone knows, they're going to remember what happened in the first fight. And now they do remember because everyone, like Max Kellerman, all these people came out and they were like, he got killed, he got destroyed. You got Steve Kim saying he won. This guy who possibly lost 20 rounds against it, or whatever, 18 rounds. He literally lost probably every round against this guy. People are coming out and now remembering now. So now, no, it's not like a back and forth thing. Now it's like this is 2 wins for Fury. And I don't know. Hey, if they could do it, that's fucking awesome. But I don't know.
Yeah,
man.
I have no clue. I'm in between on it, no doubt about it. But I do think it's going to happen because they wouldn't have made that. They wouldn't have announced the Joshua fight if they were going to go Fury, Joshua, Because they have that site feed in Saudi Arabia. Eddie Hearn has the site. Yeah, yep. It's happening in a stadium. Yep, they already announced tickets are going on sale.
So Wilder's an idiot, and Wilder should have gotten that fight, man. That's his big money fight right there, man. He could, that's what he's got to do. He's got to fight Joshua and get the fuck out.
Well, he wouldn't have been able to get the fight this time. So
maybe it could. Who knows? Yeah. Who knows? But hopefully there's some other cool stuff.
They got their work cut out for him. They got their work cut out for them, no doubt about that.
Yeah, they really, really do, man. I just hope that there's, good stuff that I can call, because honestly, I really don't like ranting about fucking fake shit. I'm trying to get back into the predictions game and step up this predictions game because, there's some other podcasts out there, like my boy Theodore over there, Teddy Atlas over there. He's feeling himself. He's Jesse Vargas in
he's feeling himself majorly, dude.
He's Jesse Vargas' jab in that second and third round this past weekend. He's running shit right now.
Dude, how can Teddy pick Wilder? Because he picked Wilder, and then he comes out and said, "I told you he has no skills." Why'd you pick him then?
Because they know.
Come on, dude. What do you mean he doesn't have skills? So why'd you pick him?
It's because a lot of them knew that the first fight was, a little weird. I think because a lot of them know the shady part about boxing. Remember that one time he predicted that, the 10th round KO, a knockout of Linares, after when I did. And the whole reason for that was because that was when the over-under was, and I knew some shady shit was going to happen. So, he looks at shady shit, too, by how he predicts these knockouts and the times, the over-unders and stuff. So he looks at that side, too. That's the reason why he's a good predictor. But because of that.
I hear that, but he predicted him and then turned around and said, "I told you he didn't have skill." Well, come on, you can't do that's both sides of your mouth there. Like, come on, dude, you can't say he doesn't have skills, but pick the motherfucker. And his reasoning was, well, Fury's gained weight, so that's what his reasoning was. That's what he said.
Oh yeah, and I don't like how he's like, hey man, because you got to have done this before. You got to, if you haven't ever been in that ring before,
right.
Like, you know what I mean, like, I said I'm a lot more motivated to prove that wrong more than anything else. So like, that's why I'm looking forward to, at least. Having something to call in about. Hopefully they make some exciting fights, just to get predictions.
Well, I mean, the spring and summer is going to pop off, dude. The scrimmage,
really?
I mean, we still got Teofimo Loma. We got Dillian Whyte and Povetikin. Yeah. We got some big fights coming up, dude.
And what's Josh Taylor doing? When is he going to fight Ramirez? Is that first, or are they going to do one-off fights first?
No, because Ramirez has a fight against Victor Posto for a mandatory. It was supposed to be in China.
I keep forgetting.
Yeah, remember because of the coronavirus, they had to knock it back to May 9th in Fresno. So that fight's then. That's a good fight, though.
Yeah, but I mean, Josh Taylor, I do view him as one of the top, pound for pound dudes skill wise. But him signing on to top rank, he's ducking.
In him though, I mean that Taylor Postal was a good fight.
Yeah, but that's Postal, and that was closer to like, and I actually had a good prediction on that fight. Like I remember I was all like, oh man, I didn't get to, or I got like dropped off or whatever when I was trying to predict that fight. But yeah, no, he for sure. But I think that he he signed on the top rank because he knows he could win that Ramirez fight. The Ramirez fight isn't like it's almost tailor made for him to a certain degree.
Victor Posto, PBC. It's a Mando. He's PBC now.
No. I'm talking about Ramirez when he ends up fighting Ramirez.
Oh, okay. No, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I got you.
You know what I'm saying? When Josh Taylor ends up fighting, that's the reason why he signed on the top rank, but also to be protected.
Yeah, he's got a Mando. Josh Taylor has a Mando too.
Yeah.
So they both have Mando.
So they're gonna have one fight each, and then they're gonna end up fighting each other. But I don't know.
Someone's gonna have to step aside. Someone's going to have to step aside because Ramirez has two belts. He has two Mandos.
Oh shit. Well, yeah. They're not gonna make us wait that long for that fucking fight. I mean, like, but he,
that's what Bob said they were going to do. Bob said that, but then again, now it's been delayed to May, so I could see what you're saying to be true.
You did notice how he waited until after Mikey Garcia announced his DAZN thing. Then after that, Josh Taylor goes and signs on to top rank. So that's also an interesting thing too. He was like, I don't know if I want to do that. If I did go to DAZN, if I stick around, like, I don't know, man. If I go that route, I'm gonna probably have to fight Mikey Garcia, and I don't know if I could do that. At 140, that's not a good fight for him. So, that's the reason why he went to top rank. But I don't know. 47 sucks, I guess, for right now. We'll see. No announcements there. Nothing.
Everything is relying on Canelo. They're all everything right now on all platforms are waiting for Canelo to announce his fight. That's what we're waiting on. Goldboy, not even Canelo. It's Goldboy.
It will be. I'll respect him so much if he takes that Billy Joe fight because that is another Arizona Lara fucking. That's all about. Fucking how many judges they could pay off again, like the Lara fight, because, I don't know how the hell he's going to deal with those legs. If he takes that fight, that's hats off to him. I'll give him a pass for him ducking Andre. And, it's, yeah, that's the only thing there. It's hopefully he doesn't, I would think that they would probably want to go with Callum Smith instead, just because it's easier. And, Callum is, we already know, I've already said what he is, and he'll take
John
a dive.
Ryder. He owes John Ryder a rematch, and from his last fight.
Yeah. That was
a draw.
Which is kind of shady because on Eddie Hearn's part, because this whole time he's talking about fucking Andre and all this shit, and it's like, oh yeah, but behind But then you're signing fucking, and now we see why. Billy Joe.
Andre didn't even get offered any of those fights at the DAZN. Not one of them. Not Callium, not BJ, and not It's
that's horrible.
You know,
that's horrible. And then I was always wondering why didn't Saunders fight fucking. Why was he like, okay, so he got popped dirty or whatever, but okay, so when he's back in the mix, how come they didn't make a fight with Andre? And it was all because he was like, okay, I'm going to sign on with fucking Hearn. Why? Because Eddie Hearn fucking promised him a fucking Canelo fight. So like the whole time, fucking Eddie Hearn is like literally like screwing fucking Andre behind it, like literally with his own business dealings, like giving Count Smith and all these other guys fucking easier shots at Canelo. So I don't know, man. He's probably gonna end up going with Count Smith.
Think back to 2014 to 2015 to the PBC welterweights. They were all waiting for a Floyd potential opportunity, right? And then finally, when Floyd retired, then those fights started popping off. I think the same thing at 168, 160. It's like everyone's seeing if Canelo's going to fight me, and Golovkin is doing the same thing. He don't want it with any of these guys. He wants the big fight. So does DAZN. And I think that's what got me about Eddie Hearn saying and Lance Pugmire helping him. He said he don't like to make in-house fights because he doesn't like to cheer. He likes to be able to cheer for one guy, not both of them. It's like, dog, come on. You can't say you run the middleweight division and then not make fights there. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. We don't know, and that's fucking something I haven't heard anybody else say, and that's a really, really great point. You got all these guys. At least Bob is making his guys fight each other. Like, you know what I mean? When he has it,
Same with Al.
Gets it done.
Same with Al.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Al's going to have these guys fight,
Of course.
But
and then you got Eddie Hearn making promises.
Right.
He's making them promises, and he wants to make every guy the most amount of money. That's really, if you want to look at it in a positive light. But that's really neglecting the fans, and you do got to. It's not cool.
It's a give and take.
Yeah. Oh well. How about how everyone was just ignoring Caleb Plant? Just until until the press conference after his last fight, everyone's just ignoring that this guy existed. They're going to duck the shit out of him till the end of time.
And they didn't even offer him. Everybody said he ducked him. They never even offered him the fight. He was answering a question,
Exactly.
And that's bullshit, too. And that's what this media and part-time media does. They just run with it, especially if it's a PBC guy. But in general,
saying that he didn't want the fight, that he's ducking it.
Yeah, he said, I don't want to turn around and go right into camp. That's what he's going to do to me. But he didn't get offered. He didn't get the fight offered to him. So it's really weak that they dragged him through the media, but he didn't even get offered.
Exactly. Just because he answered a fucking a question honestly and a good fucking answer, not a bullshit like fake ass answer. And you know what I mean. And it's one more thing about Caleb Plant. You got to respect this guy. Remember how he said, to get the fight with Kownacki, what did he do? He offered someone else his entire purse, didn't he? He was like, hey, you let me fight him. I will give you my entire purse if you let me fight you next instead of whatever. Remember he during their face off or whatever, their press conference, he came out and he offered his entire purse to fight Kownacki, to be next in line to fight Kownacki. I forgot who he did that to, who he said that to, but he offered his entire purse. That's what makes me fucking love this dude. And well,
dude, and he came off an injury and a long layoff and went right into that fight. I was talking to him when he was here in Minneapolis, and I couldn't believe after that injury he was going to just go right in there with the guy that's going to come at him. And he's like, yep, we're going right into that fight.
And impressed everybody, and has been stopping people and getting people out of there ever since. Been a lot more come forward, a lot more proactive. He's gonna have to do something like how he got that title, how he got that shot, and he's gonna have to do something like that to get a fight with these guys, with Canelo, because that's what he needs, after he beats Benavidez, 100%. I mean, that's what people should be looking forward to, and it's gonna be almost impossible for them to do it, but if he pushes, he can get it done. I think, you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure. But that's the stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he looked like and I'm not going to say he's Roy Jones, but he had a Roy Jones performance in February where he just looked clean, you know?
Yeah, dude, against the guy that was on all those exercise science commercials or whatever. I don't know, whoever the guy is, the Notre Dame guy.
Not Lee, but this last fight in February. You're talking about Lee, that Subway guy.
Yeah. He dominated him. That was like some Floyd Gotti shit what he did to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Literally, it was like picture perfect.
Hard punch.
Yeah. Exactly, you know. So I mean, and he looked really, really good this last fight. I mean, I do think the stoppage is a little weird, but he would, it would end up happening anyway, like, and in a little bit, like anyway, as far as the stoppage went. But I am.
It was nice to see the crowd came out for him too in Nashville, you know.
Hopefully that turns into a big thing because I don't know, I've only been to Nashville once and I was so surprised. There's so much culture there. It's almost like like Austin. It's like Austin. You know, it's like right by the Vanderbilt campus and shit like that. Oh. Yeah, like and it's out of nowhere. You're like expecting like some hillbilly like hick shit, but no, it's not. It's fucking awesome. It is a lot. It's music oriented, a lot of culture.
Yep.
It's just like Austin. It's just like when Austin was first coming up, Austin, Texas, back 10 years ago. You know, like it's the same sort of vibe. So that'd be cool if they're able to. You know, hopefully they didn't give those away.
You're falling off a little bit. Oh, there you go.
I said, hopefully they didn't. Hopefully they like sold all those tickets, and they didn't give them away.
Yeah, I mean, of course they had some comps, but no, they. It sounded like a legitimate gate, as far as where he's at right now. You know,
how big was the gate? Like,
we don't have the number yet.
No, I mean amount of people. Like, how many people?
You know, I don't remember offhand. I think it was 8. I don't remember offhand, to be honest with you. I think it was 8 something.
8,000.
Something
8,
like that. Yeah.
That's a lot. Shit.
I know. And it was rowdy. Like, they were really into it. You know, it was fun to watch that. And I like how Heyman actually makes them get a name nationwide with winning a belt or a big fight, and then brings them back to the home crowd. And that really worked well, you know, because they say, hey, I saw him on Fox. I saw him on Fox. I'm gonna check him out. You know.
Well, it hasn't worked for fucking what's his face, J-Rock and what's his face before that. Both of them lost in their hometown fights after that. Remember? The guy that beat
both of them. Jared Hurd. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like I thought it was only like 2,000 people, 2,500 people. I was shocked at how many boos the opponent was getting, and the crowd actually gave a shit about what was going on. Like that's.
Every punch that landed, it was like, ah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, these are the types of guys they should be pushing, because I honestly believe that, all this stuff, it's not about entertainment. People want to see greatness. People want to see perfection. That's the reason why they were drawn to Floyd Mayweather, because of the skills. The skills is what sells. And the determination when
but I disagree with that, because I talked to so many people that hate Mayweather. They respect him after a while, but I disagree.
They were buying. But they were buying the.
But that's what I'm saying, though. That it's not because of skill; it's because of hate. It wasn't just skill, though. Is what I'm saying. They always say he was a boring fighter. They just respect him.
Yeah, and how do you get his belief in himself and all that stuff, and the shit talk was one thing, but you notice how when he started, when the 24/7 started to become about the cars and all that bullshit, then the pay-per-view numbers started to go down. They started to dwindle. Everyone was drawn to him, jumping rope, and hard work, dedication. That's what sold. That's what everyone was jockeying. It wasn't that other shit. I mean, honestly,
I disagree, dude. He did like $1.4 million with Mosley. It didn't go down. It went down for Guerrero or something like that.
And that's what I'm saying. And like for Guerrero and like the last couple right before Manny, that was when the 24/7s got away from him training and started focusing on him, and like like cars
but it was also
and girls all around him.
It was also the B side. People didn't know Guerrero like they know Mosley and Canelo and stuff like that. So
yeah, but Floyd even said it. Floyd even said it himself. He was like, "Well, because we're not going to show you the same thing. You guys already saw all the stuff in the gym. Now we're showing you different stuff. Like like we're trying to get a new audience. Like because we already got these people. We want that was the whole point. And then the numbers went down. So I don't know. Caleb's plan is. How could they not blow this guy up? I don't know. You would assume.
They've been moving him good.
Why not?
3 Fox fights in a row, so they definitely believe in him. That's for sure.
Yeah, man. You give it like a good year and a half. I don't see how him against Canelo won't be. How could they not make that just as big as like a Golovkin fight? To be honest with you, with HBO out of the way, obviously, it's not possible. But still, it's why not make it like pretty big? Like he should be able to. He's a great fighter, but I don't know, man. Let me know. I'm gonna be. I've got when is the next cool fight that I can actually look at a bunch of tape on and give a.
Shakir Stevenson has a good step up fight against Mariaga. That's in 2 weeks. The cruiserweight Breedis and Dorticos. That's a brawl. There's some. March is light because college basketball is going to take over.
Yeah. I feel like there's something. Oh yeah, but the Samuel Vargas and Virgil Ortiz thing, is that coming? Or did that already happen? No.
That's at the end of March, but no, it's at the end of March. But I don't think there's much in that fight, to be honest with you.
You think he's just going to stop him? Oh yeah. Well, I just figured he's just to evaluate what he's doing, but not prediction wise. But I don't know.
Yeah. I really like.
Yeah. Just to evaluate, see how he handles, and whatnot. But I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens with welterweights, man. Hopefully, something there gets announced with, with Porter and these guys, and at least something with fucking 54 now, too. Don't they announce this type of shit around now? The fights that are coming
Yeah,
out?
but you got to remember, dude, they're waiting for Canelo. Canelo should already been announced like a month ago. So that's all they're waiting
54? On. But what about for 54 and 47 and
the last
schedule?
fight was late January. We're like 5 weeks removed from that. So yeah, they're coming back in June, but they don't have it exactly. They may have it narrowed down, but like I said, they're not gonna announce it the stuff right now. Like you said, Spence, even Crawford's fight, they have it. They're waiting. Bob even said they're waiting for Lomachenko and Lopez for Canelo to announce. They have it made.
Oh, okay. Well, they just were doing that a couple of years ago, and they just stopped. But all right, man. I do appreciate the time, man. Sorry for not being able to call in last week. So and sorry to the listeners for having to hear more shit about fucking Wilder again. They got like 2 years of this bullshit.
Shit. That's you still see it online, so it's it's the same. It hasn't gone away. That's the one thing I keep thinking. It's like, well, they might be able to sell this fucking thing. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, who knows? But my focus, is going to be on predictions moving forward. We'll see. We'll see how this year goes with that. So, I'm hyped though. I am hyped for these next few months for my own little reasons. But all right, man. I do appreciate it, bro. We will be in touch soon. All right, man.
Sounds good. Take it easy.
Later.
Peace. Later. All righty. So we do have, like we were just talking. March is like. Kind of I could say ho-hum on the surface. It's kind of more of a hardcore fight fan stuff. There's going to be good fights. As far as just like stylistic fights and even like this heavyweight card coming up, the PBC on Fox, like, you got Frank Sanchez and Efe Ajagba going against guys that are decent step-ups for him because they're prospect level. I'd say the close to 50-50 fight as far as the books go, the betting books, is that Scott Quigg, Jonah Carroll. I do think Quigg's going to win, but his style and some of the fights he's been in, he did really good against Valdez, even I mean, both of them were messed up in that one. You know, he had a weird, like a messed up eye, didn't he, in that fight? But then he also broke Vargas's jaw in that fight. Because remember, they had Vargas going in the into the ambulance, and he was all like, kind of like, "What's up?" You know, like had a smile on his face. And then they had Chavez going in the ambulance, and he was like, it was just a funny meme that was like, oh boy, okay. So Frank Sanchez against Joey Dawejko and Joey D. And Joey D's a brawler. He's the guy that, you know, the sparring rumor that he blackened up Anthony Joshua's eye. They said he knocked him out, but I still never believe that he got knocked out in sparring because I don't think they could just postpone the fight and make that same amount of money. They're not going to take that kind of risk, but that's just, you know, it is what it is. But either way, for Frank Sanchez, Joey D's not like this great fighter. No, but where Sanchez is, he's like 14-0, something like that. So this is his best opponent, and I think stylistically this one's going to pop because Joey D brawls, and Frank Sanchez, if you've seen his last fight, this dude's ready to throw. So I like that fight. It's a good step up. Like, you know, like I said, you look at the betting odds on this card, it's not, you know who's going to win, but you want to see how they get there. Same with Ajagba. Remember last summer, he finally went, 10 rounds or 9, I think it was 10 rounds or close to it. And he had been knocking guys out too quickly, really, for his development if he's going to have some. And remember that dude in Minneapolis took out of the ring. He didn't even fight him. Bell rang, he took off. So Efe, though, so he got rounds a little bit last. I think it was on that Caleb Plant Lee, actually. Yeah, he was the co-feature of that on Fox, the prelim. So Efe had that fight. Then he had more of a fight that he knocked the dude out in a handful of rounds. But then in his last fight, first of all, they both took shots. He did win by knockout, but that guy looked like he was really hurt that he fought, and it looked like the fight was going to be finished soon. And then that dude knocked Efe on his ass, and he went down hard. Now he got up, ended up finishing the fight. So I figured they'd kind of move him laterally and not step him up too much. And they got him against that who is it? Oh, God. Konja? What the hell is this goddamn name? I forgot it now. Konja or – he's just this vet who once in a while can put up a good – I just think it's a rounds thing. That's the thing about Efe. He needs more gym time. I don't know if he's ever really going to be – I think he's just a blaster. You know what I mean? Razban Cojanu, I think that's what it is. He's been around the block. It's a veteran fight. It's a 10-round fight. It's really about rounds, but I think how we get there is going to be interesting. And then Adam Kownacki, last summer, him and Chris Arreola had a crazy brawl. They both threw over 1,000 punches. I think I looked at it today. I want to say Arreola threw 1,300 punches, and we had seen him in a previous fight. And I was like, oh, Arreola's actually in shape. So when they made that Kownacki and Arreola fight, a bunch of people dumped on it. But I was like, I don't know, dude. That's going to be a good brawl. And I had no clue it was going to be like that, though. Like both of them over 1,000 punches in heavyweight. But he got hit by almost 300 punches. I looked it up today. I mean, Kownacki took a bunch of damage. So they're either lining him up for Charles Martin, who just got that win over Washington, or they're lining him up. There's rumors that Andy and Ruiz and him may fight later. It might be Ruiz and Arreola just to get, Ruiz a fight. And then later in the maybe fall or whatever, Kownacki and Ruiz. There's also talk about Ruiz and Ortiz for later in the year. But either way, Kownacki's taking on Robert Helenius. And Helenius is a guy that has got a super long reach. He's got a big-ass jab. And I think, the Dominic Brazil fight, I mentioned this earlier, the Dominic Brazil fight got he was one of the options, but the money didn't work out. So I heard that Brazil may take a fight and then fight Kownacki as long as he comes through here. Helenius is just like a semi-sturdy guy. He was up on the cards against Washington last summer, but he got caught. He did have a camp and a fight, like a tune-up. But I just think I kind of feel like it could go – it's going to be a brawl. But, he has a long jab, and you can hit Kownacki with a ton of punches. So I think it'll be a good stylistic fight, but I see Kownacki knocking him out. I just hope it's competitive and it's not like we're seeing the end of this Helenius dude who's kind of that fringe contender guy who a couple years ago took Dillian Whyte the distance. You know what I mean? So we'll see. I think brawl-wise that'll be fun. But like I said, on the books, it's not like there's nothing just great to fight. But some of these weekends, you know, when we think, I don't know, all of a sudden they pop up. I'm going to go to 503 Portland and let him shut this puppy down. 503 Portland, what's going on, man? How the hell are you, buddy? I may have gone to him too early. Maybe I haven't checked my text messages. I'm going to mute you and let you get into position. I just realized. Okay. No, you haven't. That's somebody else that text. I was thinking that maybe you were a little busy just at work and whatnot. I'm going to try to go to you again and see. I think you're on there. Let's see. Portland 503. What's going on, man? How you doing? 503.
Mexicanos, cantemos nuestro himno nacional. Mexicanos al grito de guerra, el acero apresad y el bridón, y retiembla en sus centros la tierra, al sonoro el rugir del cañón.
Hey, yo, what up? Yo, what up, Chris? Hey, yo, had to, do my intro. Got to give it up to the flag. You know what I mean? Represent. Yo, what up, Chris? How you doing, brother? Yo, hello, you there? Hello?
You hear me? You don't hear me?
Yo, Chris. Yeah. You hear me?
Yeah, okay.
You hear me?
I can hear you. Yep,
All
I
right,
got
cool,
you.
cool. All right, cool, man. All right, cool, brother. Yeah, man. Just chilling, listening to some awesome boxing. The Rope-a-Dope radio, you know what I'm talking about. But but you were caught me off guard there. But everything's chill. Did you hear everything? Did you hear what I first said? All the anthem and shit. You heard all that?
Oh yeah, yep.
All right, cool. All right, but what happened last week? I saw some real quick. Let's break down the let's break down the fucking the weekend. Chocolatito. I saw that. I didn't see the whole fight, but I did see that tremendous fucking knockout of his on on Twitter and everything. But I did get to see the Mikey Garcia fight, man. It was cool. Like everybody, people were saying, well, I thought it did start slow, for the moment. And, Mikey held his own, man, but he got a pretty sweet there, like a pretty good, knockdown there, man. And, he's just, man, it was dope. I don't know what to say, man. I was just proud. I can't believe that weight or that power actually held up at that weight. I was surprised. I don't know. In my opinion, I was kind of surprised to put him down. I mean, in my honest opinion, He
hurt him a couple times in the fight too.
Yeah, but also, Jessie, got his in there too. I mean, he was, he was getting him with some pretty nice left hooks there, and putting his work on, Mikey. And I mean, look at Mikey's face at the end of that fight, man. He got hit, and then they're talking about Manny Pacquiao now, and come on, he's gonna, Manny Pacquiao he's still on top of all these welterweights, man. And I don't know what to say, man. He eats them up, all of them. So I don't know, man. And but if he does get it, hopefully maybe they can make it on DAZN, because it seems like DAZN's got endless pockets over there. I think they'll make, pay Pacquiao, man. They can afford it, man. They're paying YouTubers, some money. I mean, that's how much, boxing they're trying to get or whatever, you know what I mean? So it's like they're throwing money at that. So it's like the money's there. So hopefully they can do that and whatever. So, but as far as for Mikey, I thought he looked all right. He got at least he got the knock knockdown and looked good doing it, but he couldn't put him away. It was nice for Mikey to actually get a win at this weight. Like I said, I am very surprised about that fucking knockdown, but he got it. But Vargas, man, because he's pretty stable, even though he got knocked down by Pacquiao too. And but he's got he's a solid fighter. You know what I mean? He's always got a guest trainer. I don't know who it was this time, but I didn't see anyone of note. But as far as Vargas, man, I don't know what to say for him, man. I think he, keep getting money at DAZN, keep getting some fights, man. I don't know. That's all I can say. But looking, I mean, him losing to, Mikey, like a lightweight, kind of looks bad on him, So, but I don't know, whatever. Maybe they can still make some fun fights with him. But he took a pretty good, both of them took a pretty good, fight, damage there. So, but yeah. But also, too, what were you guys talking about? Oh, hey, also, too, about the Canelo thing, man. You guys were talking about the Canelo earlier. At this point, it's funny, that Cinco de Mayo date is, open still, and, there's no, I think, what is it? Is BJ Saunders, that's the rumor, right?
That's the rumor. You got a minute left, too, by the way.
All right. Well, I just want to say, man, that dude should have, Canelo, he should have just gone off and fought that UFC fighter, because how is this there's no fight? I'm hearing all these fighters turning down turning down the fucking amount of money the amount of money there for the fight.
Hello?
Yeah. Sorry, brother. I'm just trying to see the. All right, brother. But anyways, sorry I don't have so much to say. Viva Robidoux, Viva Christopher Carlson, and Viva Mexico.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Take it easy. It's about to cut off, so we're gonna get out of here. Enjoy the fights this weekend. We'll be back next.